on my 34th birthday.
Boom!
Weird.
We're getting there, right?
Slowly.
It happens fast from here, Tom. It happens fast from here. I remember turning 30 and thinking whatever, and the next thing I knew, I was 37. And literally, it felt like I went from 30 to 37, just like that. And then from there, you just stop counting the birthdays. Once you start getting that close to 40.
I just wonder if by that time people will be traveling to that game.
Wow,
will fans be going from Tampa to Vegas? Will there be, an attitude towards travel that's different than it is right now? Obviously, we all want there to be treatments that allow for the whole world to just be closer to what we experienced back in January, February. But I wonder, will Bucs fans be going to Vegas for the Raiders and Bucs game, or will that still be a faux pas?
I spent a lot of time wondering exactly where we'll be at certain benchmarks, and you're absolutely right. I mean, when you try to project something like that, it seems every week you get more information that makes things more difficult. Maybe one day it's less difficult to figure out. The next, it's a little bit more convoluted. So we're all kind of obviously in the midst of gathering information on a daily basis, and that all culminates with kind of a weekly look back of where am I at this week? What do I feel? Do I feel better about the chances things are going to move forward in a way that resembles what things were like prior to COVID? Or are we still in the midst of the unknown? And nobody likes being in limbo. I've talked about that before. You can kind of tackle the concrete. You can kind of say, well, this is what we're facing, and here's how we have to handle it. It's not going to be easy. Let's gather ourselves and pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and get it done, if you know what it is. When you don't, that is an uncomfortable feeling. That feeling of uncertainty really kind of weighs on us. And in the sports world, as it pertains to this, I think we're hyper-focusing currently really on college football. It partly is the region of the country we're in, but also it suggests an awful lot about the way that universities look at athletics and the importance of it, and also students and whether or not they're in school, on campus. You saw they floated it out there last week. They were trying to see if there was a feeling, Mark Emmert, that people would be cool with football games being played in the fall, even if there weren't students on campus, but rather they were just online. And they threw that out there waiting to see what people would say. And it was obviously a pretty, overwhelming retort, which is, no, you can't do that, you buffoon. And then quickly they kind of framed it. Well, we never intended to do that, but we certainly had meetings with all of the different commissioners in the athletic departments across the country, and it seems unanimous that we're going to only play if students are back on campus physically taking classes. And immediately following that statement, there was yet another statement, and this one from the Big Ten, and you've heard it whispered in the SEC. They were like, well, let's speak for yourself. You have no control over us. I mean, we are the NCAA, meaning the presidents of these various universities that make up the league. The NCAA doesn't have like a centralized thing where they say, this is what we're doing. No, it doesn't work that way. And so the Big Ten looked at the $700+ million they dispersed out to their member teams and universities last year and said, we might play. You talk for somebody else. So you couldn't find the certainty there, which is the status quo. It's been that way since this all started, was somebody will make a definitive statement about the fact that we are not playing, and then somebody from another conference will go, you need to slow your roll with all that we're not playing nonsense, and then somebody else will come in and say, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to play with no students? Oh, no, we never said that. We didn't say we would do that. We're not prepared to announce we're not playing anytime soon. We'll likely play only if there are students there. Okay, well, then we're in agreement. We're not going to play unless there are students on campus. What? Now, slow your roll. I didn't say that either. That's kind of how this has gone. And it just tells you right off the bat, they don't want to A, make a decision before they have to, which, fine, I applaud that. B, they don't want to walk away from the money. They can't afford to walk away from the money. And so those kinds of blanket statements, we're not playing, they're not going to stand for that.
Well, how can the university walk away from the money, too?
Right.
And I'm not just talking Florida State. I'm talking every university that has brick-and-mortar operations. This is not – we're not becoming a country of University of Phoenixes. That's not the way this is going to work.
Except for the for-profit. part of it.
Well, but
Yeah, I
that's
know
what
what
I'm
you mean.
saying is like, Florida State can't rightfully charge an added tuition rate to a kid who's staying at home in New Jersey
Sure.
and taking classes online. You can't charge them 30, 40
No.
grand a year. So they're going to have to open. I feel like Emirates saying that is almost a precursor to, unless your state is in dire, circumstances, the governors are going to say that these guys are good to go and these state institutions are all going to have on, in-person operations.
Well, if we're going to boil it down to whether or not I think we're going to be playing football in the fall and whether or not students are going to be on campus for the fall semester, the answer is, as I sit here today, yes, I think we are. I think they're going to plow ahead. I think this is all being set up, regardless of what happens with the spike in the numbers or anything else. I think the talking point you and I have had several times, even when it's uncomfortable, that at some point they're going to do the calculations and they're going to say, we're prepared that people are going to die and we're moving forward. Now, listen, there's a debate surrounding that, and I understand there are valid points against doing that. But I'm not here to have that debate on the show today. What I'm saying is I think that we can see now we're gearing up to do that they're figuring out the math and they're going to do it.
Nor is that some sort of, show-specific opinion. It's just watching the people making the decisions.
Yeah, just following along with the things that are being said publicly on a weekly basis.
And following the money. This has always been about, after you get past the curve argument, about
which
overwhelming
they
the
had to
healthcare
flatten,
system,
yeah.
which is, I think, most everybody, we said this last week, most everybody agreed with that. Once you get past there, then it's just, it's a math problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds really kind of perverse, but that's how economics, that's how health economics, that's how the healthcare industry, that's how all of this is done. And this is, when you look at balance sheets and you look at, test rates and all that kind of stuff, you've got to make your own calculations as a business. And universities are big business, and college sports is big business. Yeah. I mean, at some point, people are going to make some really tough decisions, and ones that we'll see what the history books say about it 20 years from now, but we're living in that interesting time.
Yeah, well, what also, I think it's a balance between, obviously, like you're talking about, reigniting, kickstarting the economy, making sure that the collapse of the American economy does not, like I said, I don't want to go down that path. We talked about this before, but one thing I will say is it's a mixture of that, but also the temporary shelter-in-place orders allowed for, again, like you noted, the healthcare industry to not be as overwhelmed, but also advancements in testing, which was vital, and we need to continue that. That really has to be a thing. If any of this is to proceed, and I think for people to feel more comfortable going to games and attending universities and all of the things that we're alluding to now, testing has to be at the forefront. Relative ease of testing, results, immediate. These are things that will help people feel more comfortable. I think just as we don't have a cure for the common flu, we do know how to diagnose it and get people out of the workplace, out of the classrooms who have it.
Well, there's an attitude adjustment that's needed in America, though. We go to work sick.
Well,
I don't know that. I think we may be changing our tune on that a little bit more.
Yeah. The show how tough you are by working sick attitude is probably going the way of the dodo, as it should have a long time ago. Yeah, like you
Hopefully
better
with
stay
protections for employees for expanded, sick leave if
need be.
COVID is the reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those adjustments, there are a lot of adjustments that are going to be held on to as we move forward, many of which we were headed towards eventually anyhow. That process has been expedited. I feel for you if you just opened up a buffet restaurant. Have a good one. That ain't gonna happen. The idea of all the renovations that the Golden Corrals of the world did, that business model ceases to exist due to pandemic. So, I've already seen some announcements. Businesses that basically their basic structure is buffet. They've announced that they're closing. There's no coming back from this. My wife celebrates that. She's thought buffets were the devil for as long as I've ever known her. I mean, oh my God. She's always been like, this is the most unhealthy thing I've ever seen. What are people doing?
I like a good buffet.
Well,
it's I guess I had my last one whenever last time I was there.
Yeah, it ain't happening ever again, buddy. When was your last buffet?
It was probably over in Pensacola before we come back for the holidays. We do stop at the Ruby Tuesday at the salad bar.
Salad bar. Everybody loves the salad bar.
Yeah, that salad bar was killer.
It's gone. It's gone. If you stop at the Sunny Salad Bar and you get your 17 pounds of salad, ain't happening. It's not going to happen ever again. All soup buffets and all that. Nope. Pizza buffets. Nope. All gone.
I never did those.
Yeah. Felt a little shaky, didn't it?
Well, no, because it was like the pizza was old. Like, you know.
You had to get there when Cece's was just putting the pan down.
Right, and that's when people all crowd around it, and you're just like, well, I'm not even going to get half a slice anyway, so this is stupid. Like, let me go get that cardboard pepperoni over there that's been sitting there for 4 hours. Nah, man, I'll spend the extra $3 and order my own.
It's the people crowding around part of it that made my wife recoil. So all of that, you know, it was always suspect to her. She's like, yes, good. We should have banned these ages ago. As an aside, back to the NFL schedule in a moment. But welcome to primetime Tampa Bay Buccaneers indeed. We knew that was going to be the result. It was. The Bucs are in primetime 5 times this year. Once last year, if you're counting at home. They're also in the they're also in the 4:25 Eastern Time window 4 more times, including a season opener at New Orleans. The Bucs are in the same company as teams like the San Francisco 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs. There they are. We're right there with those teams. And it's not really a surprise, but it's fascinating. I wonder how many times, I got to double check this. I didn't look. How many times did they put the Patriots in the same sort of time spot? They didn't, not as many as the Bucs, I can tell you that.
There was an article, and this is, you talk about like trivia section of ESPN.com rather than even the NFL section. The Bucs and the Patriots don't play in the same time window until December 20th, I think.
Oh, wow.
That's just a weird stat. For me, when the Bucs schedule was released, of course we're opening with the Saints in New Orleans. Of course we are. Fine. It's always the Saints. Always. Ever since Jameis was out there to be taken as the number 1 overall pick, it's always been the Saints.
The Saints are always there.
They're always there.
Mm-hmm. Omnipresent. By the way, the Chiefs don't play a rematch against the 49ers. That was a scheduling quirk. Ordinarily, you get that Super Bowl rematch week 1, week 2, some early on. That's the grand welcome back. Here we go. We'll look at these two combatants pretty early, but it doesn't happen.
Well, I guess division alignment didn't work out.
Yeah, but the Chiefs do play, obviously, the AFC. I mean, if you think about the matchup against the Ravens and all, they still have all of those games. And they're still, I thought the schedule was what it was. Didn't need 3 hours on it. But, you know, the more you talked about the games, the more excited you got. The NFL has owned COVID-19. There is no doubt the pandemic has not affected the NFL's dominance over the media landscape because they have pretended as if there are no such things as pandemics or viruses or stay-at-home orders. They have just soldiered right along, other than not having OTAs. The draft and everything else, combine, you know.
We'll see about when facilities open. It'll be interesting. That's the next wave of stuff in the next week or two, right, is to see what the plans are for each league. To not maybe have a formalized ramp-up plan. I know MLB is the one that's spearheading that effort right now. But I think every league is going to have in the next couple of weeks a plan for when a player is allowed to attend the facility. And, you know, how big the groups can be, and can there be a trainer there? Just like these small little things, little indicators.
Yeah.
Maybe things are getting back to normal. On a day in which, too, the government of the UK said the EPL can start up again in earnest on June 1st.
A lot of interesting steps being taken by sports organizations across the world. You're seeing it now, like you just noted, in England. I think it's fascinating that we noted, and really this isn't any great insight that others couldn't have gleaned just by reading, but May seemed like an important month. We kept pointing to, let's see what happens in May. And now here we sit, it's only May 11th, and already early in May, first 2 weeks in May, you're getting momentous decisions and revelations, if you will. It does feel like, you mentioned Major League Baseball, it does feel like that's ramping back up. It does feel like they're prepared they're going to get some kind of season in. They seem hell bent on hitting June and giving it an extended spring training and moving forward with games by July.
Well, and this returns to the very beginning of the segment when you're talking about, for lack of a better term, the calculations that businesses are going to have to go through. The analogy holds. You could be Major League Baseball, or you could be a shop right here on Capitol Circle. Everybody's been hit with the same haymaker. Now, unless you're in very unique industries, sectors of the industry, and you're doing better than you've ever done before, everybody's been hit by the same haymaker, and it's, all right, you dust yourself off after a couple of months, and you think, what do I do next? I'm not going to do nothing. So I got to do something. I got to have a plan, and we got to figure out what to do next. Small business, Major League Baseball, the NHL, the NFL, everybody's going through this same process where they got to answer their questions.
And there are still lots of unknowns, and we're not going to have clear-cut, universally agreed upon decisions, but it does feel like things are being pushed forward. And I get it. A long time ago, the need to have a right or wrong answer in the debates that follow, to me seems silly because this was all going to be in the gray area, that we were going to live in the gray area. It's true that way of most debates anyhow, but people don't like to live in the gray area.
Well, or the uncomfortable area where you have to talk about things at scale. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about things at scale, what happens? You lose the humanity involved in it.
Sure.
Because you start looking at statistics, but they represent real things. I feel the weight of that. I know what I believe on the individual level and what processes I will follow. And it's going to change and adapt as we get more information as a people. But I do feel the weight when you talk about these things.
Sure, because you care about human beings and humanity and people in your life that will be affected. We had this conversation last week. It's just common sense to note that not everybody is going to be able to make the same kinds of decisions as to how they live their life moving forward, at least in the immediate future, right?
Foreseeable future.
Maybe this is maybe that changes 2 and 3 years from now, but this next year is going to be fascinating and many times not in a good way. Because there are those who are impacted at a greater level, and they have to make different decisions for their family. I have family members that will not be able to make the same kinds of decisions that I'm going to make, or that you're going to make, or that friends of mine are going to make. I do have family members. I'm sure lots of people listening to this program either have elderly people in their life that are going to have to make different decisions based on the vulnerability of their age, and then also those who have pre-existing conditions through no fault of their own. But if you have a family member with autoimmune disorders or deficiencies, you have to make different decisions than somebody who's not afflicted by that. So that's what you're going to see, and there is a psychological impact of that. There is obviously an impact in terms of the immediacy of being able to be around one another and share time and go on vacations together and do that. All these things are impacted logistically, all that stuff. And it's going to be fascinating. And not in a good way, not in a good way. It's just something that we're all going to have to kind of decide for ourselves.
No, because you have to get into a heated argument where the poles are, and by poles I mean the ends of the spectrum where you're arguing are, it's not nothing versus it's not the end of times either. So where does that leave you? In a very difficult place.
Yeah. And I've chosen when having, it's interesting. One of the things that I have found fascinating is that I said before that I've looked at this as an apolitical issue. Now, I understand there are politics involved, and certainly there was bureaucracy involved that led to some of these problems.
And naturally, it's an election year.
Yeah. So beyond that, I've just tried to sit and listen when I'm having conversations with somebody who we might not see eye to eye on what the right thing to do is this week, next month, next year. Because I'm willing to accept that the way I view this might not be the way another person views this, and even if we are on opposite ends of the spectrum, that person might make very valid points. So long as we're talking about this from an economic and human standpoint, you can you and I can disagree, and it's not political in any way. We can just have this conversation because you're going to be right about some things. I'm going to be right about some things. We're going to disagree on some things, but we don't know. There isn't 100% accuracy with this. I mean, we've already learned that what we thought to be true 3 weeks ago is not necessarily true now in a lot of in many realms. And so it's forever changing. It's malleable, Certain aspects of it aren't, but certain others are.
Well, and the hard part too is think about your home computer. You can't just turn it on and off all the time. You can't just keep hitting the power button every 5 seconds, on, off, on, off. You're going to break the damn thing.
Right.
So the hard part is there is a breaking point for sports leagues, right?
Sure.
For universities, where with the information we have to make a decision and keep our finger off the power button unless there's a complete need for it.
Yeah,
because if you are as wishy-washy as sometimes the data would suggest or the headlines would suggest, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to get anywhere at all. Either you full steam ahead with whatever your plan is, not full power like we were in January, or every 2 weeks you're going to have to revise what you just said and what you just did. And that's not an economic model at all.
Man, that kind of limbo ain't good for anybody.
No.
It's frustrating, and it certainly is confusing, I think, for a lot of people. Again, and I'm not saying that I have a handle on it either. I mean, I just got done mentioning that for the last 2 weeks, we've felt a certain way on a Wednesday and a different on a Friday, and still again different on Tuesday the following week.
Yeah, I think for me, what I've kind of felt the whole way is follow the money. There's too much at stake for things not to take place in some form or fashion. But you know what? In the very beginning, I felt that way about the NCAA tournament and March Madness. And that didn't happen. And there was a lot of money involved in that thing.
Well, and I think final capper on this, we'll move forward. I do want to talk about last night's episodes of The Last Dance, which I thought were riveting. I would say that, again, the bigger problem is that what's true in Leon County is not necessarily true in Pasco County, which is not necessarily true in Dade County. I mean, so
thankfully, in a lot of cases for the Leon Pasco line of delineation. Thankfully so.
Yeah. So I
don't know that we have an overwhelming meth problem here.
So it's sort of a area code by area code, county by county, sort of state by state sort of thing, which you get. You get that, what's true in Montana is not true in New York. The people in Montana ought not be abiding by the same restrictions as the people in, say, New York City. I mean, it ought not be that way. So, again, we talk about the lack of uniformity making this all the more difficult to get a handle on as you'd like to take a step forward. See, when 9/11 happened, when you had a last crisis, if you will, that affected the nation, that affected our collective mindset, if you will.
Yeah.
When that happened, everybody agreed. Everybody was in lockstep. It seemed pretty obvious. You had a clear-cut enemy. You had obviously a response that involved great humanity. Everybody got it, right? As Americans, we bonded together. There was nothing to argue about. You knew what was at stake, and you understood the impact, the terror of such an event. And while we all agree, we hate to see people pass and be put in danger, and that is probably universally agreed upon if you're not a sicko, we don't necessarily have something that we can point to as an agreed upon approach because it's different in every state. It's different in every city. Now, that's a different discussion when it bleeds into whether or not leagues or conferences and things like that, if we're bringing it back to sports, can move forward without everybody being in lockstep. I mean, just because things are okay in certain states and there are universities in those states and they could play, the problem is they are reliant on everybody else that can or cannot play because you can't play yourself. So you're in a tough situation there. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
And now, an ad from Dad.
All right, what have we got here? Save money on car insurance when you bundle home auto with Progressive. Save money on car insurance. You ready? Save money on car insurance when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. That sounded pretty good, don't you think? I could do it one more time, but I think that's... What do you say? Nailed it, right? Nailed it.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Your home has been a place of great comfort. We can help you keep it that way. Barano Heating and Air is helping you get ready for summer with $1,500 off select new units, 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus worry-free maintenance plans. Learn more or schedule online at BaranoAC.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air today. Florida license CAC 1816186.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's Bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang. Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Of the characters, if you will, in The Last Dance, who's the sneaky favorite? Who's the non-lead that you like the most? I would say Phil Jackson in a way for me.
Oh, but I feel like he's a main character.
Do you?
Yeah. They don't go to him as often as the players. But
Obviously, yeah, but
I like Reinsdorf. I got to be honest. I just like his, if that's how he actually is.
just candor.
Yes, he's candid. Man, he'd be an easy person to work for. You know, it just in terms of where you stand. He's not one of those in the shadows types who is just worth a gazillion dollars. He has good logic and reason. He told Scotty not to sign the contract. He's very matter of fact about, Michael leaving sucks, but I was happy for him. He just seems like he kind of gets it.
Yeah, I think it is a byproduct of the times that he didn't tell Krause to shut the hell up when they were getting ready to disband the team. I would have just been like, no. I like winning championships. I'm not going to let you destroy what you built. You don't get to tear it down. You get credit for that. And I pay you handsomely. Shut up.
I just fully expected, given the way some NFL owners,
Yeah, I
who are
agree with
out,
you.
out
I
in
agree.
public,
Yeah.
the way they talk, you're like, oh God, here comes like a total spin of everything that happened. And Reinsdorf's like, no, I told him this is stupid. I'm like, okay, all right, this guy's pretty blunt. I like that.
Yeah, I think for the very same reason you just cited, I've continued to and maybe like more Michael Jordan. You know where you stand. It is straightforward. There is a lot of guys, especially in shaping a documentary, would, I think, to a much greater extent, attempt to avoid owning up to being overly competitive, avoid talking about gambling or whatever. He's never apologized. Like this whole time, he's not apologized. And I'm good. We got a lot of apologies, and sometimes it's necessary, but with the stuff that they're highlighting, I find myself, even before he says it, going, well, you don't have to apologize for that. I get that. Like, going back to the gambling, I talked about this last week. When they were chiding him for going to Atlantic City and all that, I was like, that's ridiculous. If my man wants to go to Atlantic City until 1 o'clock in the morning and sleep till noon and not tip off till 7:30 and he goes and drops 40, what do you care? It's his money. And, I mean, it's not like Mike isn't showing up. So I had no problem with that. And this thing, too, man. You're paid millions of dollars to win championships. You're there to win the game, to Herm Edwards' speech. I mean, you play to win the game, and you want to win. I mean, I don't think anybody gets to the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL, the top of whatever sport they play without being a bit selfish and probably overly competitive by a normal standard, right? That's fine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of evidence that comes out that helps you like Michael. I still feel like there are hands being put on this documentary and guiding it in certain ways that steer clear from a true examination of Michael Jordan and more of a celebration of Michael Jordan than an examination. Like when you watch the Dennis Rodman documentary, just solely on him, not the episode in this particular one, but that is a brutally honest piece that's being constructed. It's not like Dennis's spin on the truth. You get interviews from people who like him and don't like him and think he's misunderstood and then think he's weird and he's beyond help. But it's like gritty and real. This one, I feel like it's more about a celebration of Michael's greatness with a couple of things along the way, but not a true examination of his life as he went through it. Only certain facets of it, and probably only facets that he's willing to concede.
Well, I know this. I would say that part of that is only because you have to take the footage you have from the season that they're following. So anecdotes about him being an ass on a set for a commercial really wouldn't even be appropriate in a documentary like this.
I guess what I'm getting at specifically is more about his relationship with his wife and kids. All you hear about is Michael and his parents. But oddly, in this whole period of time, he had a wife and 2 sons, and sometimes they're on the B-roll, but that's about it. It's not like you're getting from his kids the answer about what life was like with dad in the house as MJ and an ex-wife who might, give you some less than flattering details, but may give you an honest account of what that human being was like. I think you're missing like a quarter slice of the pie as to who Michael really was in that period of time. I'm enjoying all the other stuff. It feels a little bit incomplete and guided.
Well, I think my guess is because the documentary or the E60 on Rodman is about Rodman's life. This is not about Jordan's life.
But I think it's presented as such in many of the episodes because he is the epicenter of all things. And I get that Michael Jordan is the biggest piece of the Bulls. But I mean, I think that they are omitting some things clearly because Michael would prefer not to talk about them.
I'm sure that's true. I don't know, though. I think that part of what I like is that what's being reveals to me, okay, I already knew that he was overly competitive and that he loved to gamble, and I think I knew just from having watched his career that clearly he probably wasn't faithful to his wife, and which leads to a divorce. I mean, I assumed as much. I already knew that Well, I knew the devastation surrounding the death of his father, and they've done a great job of showing where that stems from. His childhood, how he became so competitive, what his dad instilled in him. This episode last night was brutal. You know, he's still struck by his dad's death, can barely talk about it. And then I knew he cried after they won. I remember him laying on the floor. I never heard the audio where he's heaving. That was amazing and very, very behind the scenes, to say the least, right? I'm sure in order to protect his kids, and who knows if his ex-wife even wanted to talk, I don't know that, but I'm sure he said, look, I'll grant you the sit down. See, they already had all the footage for the season and all of the footage from the seasons previous that they can put together, so you can do the leaping of the years. What they had to have that ties everything together is for Mike to be willing to sit down and have conversations about the footage that they had and the interviews they had done. And my understanding is that for years he wouldn't grant that, and thus they couldn't A, release a documentary, and B, he had control of his rights and likeness and all that. So he was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then eventually he agreed, and part of that was money. He agreed to accept money for it. But then also he liked the director of this documentary is the same director that did the E60 piece on Allen Iverson. Jordan saw that and liked it a lot. And that had warts and all and other things. And when he was contacted again about this project, they said it's the guy who did the Allen Iverson thing, amongst his many other credits. And Jordan said, oh, it's that guy. Well, I'll sit and talk with him. I like him. He seems fair. And then that, after they forged a relationship, was such where he said, okay, I don't love all the footage on this thing, but I get it. I get what you're trying to do. At least, okay, I'll sit down and give you my side of the story.
Yeah.
So I think to that end, they've done a really good job. I mean, is Jordan ruthless? Yep, doesn't bother me. I mean, no more so than a lot of people that rise to that level. Is he I think about it this way. Think of all the guys that are involved in these conversations, including Steve Kerr, who got punched by him. They all seem to pretty much like Mike. I mean, they didn't like being yelled at, and they understood he could be tough. But in retrospect, they all kind of look back like, we needed it.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not saying that there's a smoking gun per se. I'm just saying that when they started the documentary, the way they set up Michael as a character here for this series, he talked extensively about his childhood, about college, about the relationship with his brother and his parents. You'd figure that there would be a payoff, that in this time when he goes from really good basketball player, NBA superstar, to world icon, that there would be the complete picture of what life was like, not just him in a hotel room without his family. I mean, that's missing something. If you didn't know any better, you'd think he was a single man through this whole experience. Right. Not a father of a couple of kids.
Well, and I think he's been fiercely, protective of her and those kids.
Yes. But what that does to me is it puts its hands on the full picture. You're getting a lot of it. But you're not getting the whole thing. And some stuff that I think really looks good for him. Number one, the fact that after the second title, he said, I'm pretty much burnt. I'm done now. But I want to do what Magic and Bird did, which is win 3 straight, and I've got unfinished business. That's a good look, because I remember as a kid at the time to talk about the gambling. I remember all those articles.
Sure.
Even as a little, that's when I really started to consume the newspapers and sports pages and Sports Illustrateds of the world. I remember when he was a baseball player as a kid. It was just so bizarre. But that looks good upon him. And then the other thing that looks good last night that unintentionally I picked up on was, remember Steve Kerr was talking about how Scottie Pippen had a gentle touch, and they were fine that first season. Well, they were falling to pieces by year two with that gentle touch.
Gentle touch didn't work.
And so Michael had to be the bad guy. It's like when you're a manager or CEO of a company, you can't be friends with everybody. That's not your role. And he understood that, accepted it, and he breathed it.
Well, it also further highlights what I suspected at the beginning of this documentary, and I had a vibe from it. Admittedly, I went and read some about the off-the-court life, but Scotty's shaky. What kind of bitch ass? That was ridiculous. I'm not going in. Oh, that had to hurt him that was going to be in the documentary. And then to come back after that, knowing damn well that was a pathetic decision. to come back and say in this when asked about it, well, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it the same way. Get that. Get out of here. That's universally loathed, childish, petulant, sorry.
Yeah, what's crazy about that, too, is, I mean, the way they presented the season is that Scotty valued sharing the basketball throughout.
Yeah. And then when he's asked to.
But then when he's asked to in the final moment, like, I can get that you want the ball,
it
and a
hurts
competitor
your feelings,
does,
but get off
but
the
you get
bench.
on the court.
It's 1.8 seconds. Get your ass off the bench. What are you doing? Can you imagine?
What I wish they had footage of was, obviously the setup of Jerry Krause and how much he loved Kukoc. What did he do in the stance after Kukoc made that?
I knew it.
Did the guy in front of him spill his beer because Jerry's gut hit him in the back of the head? He jumped out of his chair so fast.
Dude, it made me like Phil more, though. I love how quick Phil was to drop the F-bomb on him. He's like, what? F him. So-and-so get in there. That was hilarious. He said it with, and then he just stone cold walked off the court.
He was done.
Oh, I got no time. Yeah, that was unbelievable. But see, how bad does it look if you're Scottie Pippen when Kerr, Jordan, Horace Grant, everybody on the team was like, whoa. And then you find out Bill Cartwright's the man. Looking at Scottie Pippen afterwards.
He was done.
Yeah.
They only use a limited amount of his actual interview, too. I'll bet he said some interesting things. Or he was emotionally vulnerable in that moment when he was recanting
He
it.
was still angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that he said it to Scotty right there in front of the team, like, I'm surprised somebody didn't punch Scotty. I mean, that's a punchable offense.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a punchable
They're
offense.
in the middle of a series.
I mean, we're fighting.
Yeah. It's recount. But the interesting thing to me, too, about Jordan, sports-specific training. There's been a revolution in that regard. We've had people on from TOC or different trainers over the years talking about, specialization, sports-specific training. How about Jordan in the mid-'90s having a guy who was like, oh, I know what to do for baseball, basketball.
That guy who also got emotional last night, and that guy talking about Jordan's work ethic was overwhelmed. Just recounting it. Him in his mind, like, Jesus, the next day, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, for 3 hours. Yeah, it was awesome. That was fun. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When we see cops. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Your home has been a place of great comfort. We can help you keep it that way. Barno Heating and Air is helping you get ready for summer with $1,500 off select new units, 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus worry-free maintenance plans. Learn more or schedule online at BarnoAC.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barno Heating and Air today. Florida license CAC 1816186.
Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket. You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Live from State Farm, we have Sharon Flaversham, IT Manager, attempting the 47th of our 100 Acts of Good. Today's good deed, she will attempt to escort a little old lady across the road. Hands held, elbows interlocked. Steady. Such courage. And they're across.
It's on the board!
Bravo, Sharon, and bravo to all State Farm employees, challenging themselves to get on the board with 100 Acts of Good.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wrapping up the hour, Mike Martin Jr. going to join us later in the program. Talk about the decision that's being made in Major League Baseball to limit the draft to 5 rounds. It's crazy.
So curious. And like
a lot of stuff to get into with that.
If you didn't have the provision that said you could bring back a senior, right? And let's just say that if that was your last year of eligibility, we're so sorry, but that's your last year. Then in some ways you could look at this and say, wow, the assembly line is full of great talent because they've got nowhere to go, so they got to come see us. But you've got an assembly line issue both ways. Outgoing, incoming.
There's going to be a pool of players looking for a place to showcase their skills and get paid for it and get noticed. It's strange. There are some numbers that I'll present when we talk to Mike Martin Jr. that I read today. I read a lot of stuff this morning. You gave me the heads up over the weekend that was going on, and then I read some things this morning about that and thought, geez, this has been an ongoing issue in Major League Baseball between the owners and the Players Association and the Minor League Baseball Association. It's crazy. That reveal that this has been in the talks for a few years now. Not 5 rounds, but the minor league baseball pool shrinking, number of cities that will have teams or not have teams, baseball's affiliates having control of those teams, the player pool. They're talking about reducing the draft from 40 rounds to 20 rounds. This is just the exception this year because of the extraordinary times.
Yeah, Tony Clark and Rob Manfred were always going to go to war.
Yeah.
And this has been coming, and Olney and Rosenthal and Starr, all of them, they know, they've been talking about how this could get pretty ugly. But the thing that sucks to me is if you're...
Wrong time to reveal that ugliness.
Well, and if you're going to tell 40 cities that they're no longer affiliated with, minor league baseball through MLB's eyes at least, and the savings that you're going to generate per team are nominal, you look like a bunch of pieces of crap in that regard.
Correct. Yeah. No, we'll explore it. By the way, capper on this real quick. I did love the part of last night's Last Dance when Jordan said, well, if my method seemed a little harsh to you who've never won anything. It's like, that's fantastic. Winning comes at a price.
Yeah, and the other thing he said that I thought was really important for his image, but also you could tell it's true. I never asked anybody to do anything I didn't do.
Well, and this is why that's important. Not only is it not hypocritical, it's great, but B, this is a time before social media. So the camera is just filming practice to film practice. He's not doing it so that you see it. As far as he knows, in that time, you're never going to see that. So he's running to run because he's setting an example for the team. So he's in first the whole time they're running the sprints. He's leading the way, and you're like, yeah, he's not doing that. Like LeBron would do that, or Steph would do that, or whomever would do that because they know it's going to be seen by somebody somewhere that night. This wasn't going to be seen.
And if it's not their sole motivation, it's at least part of the motivation.
No, it's just the knowledge that that's going to happen.
For Jordan, it was these sorry bunches.
Yeah,
because they're not him. I
you
need to make them better.
You mean, let's go. He's running that whole time. It's great. Also, I think that it's awesome that Phil starts calling fouls on Jordan that he deems to be ticky-tacky. He's looking at Phil like, what are you doing? What is this nonsense? And in the year that he had been away, Jordan already perceives them as soft. So he's like, this is going to make them better. And they don't get to bask in the glory that I produced. They've got to show up and do it now. And so all of this is the perfect ticking time bomb to poor Steve Kerr getting punched in the face.
Who are you?
Kareem
Who are
Garcia.
you, Kareem Garcia?
It's the Jeff Cameron Show.
But when the young man falls, well, then the old heart breaks.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits, turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHcando.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Live from State Farm, we have Sharon Flaversham, IT Manager, attempting the 47th of our 100 Acts of Good. Today's good deed, she will attempt to escort a little old lady across the road. Hands held, elbows interlocked. Steady. Such courage. And they're across.
It's on the board!
Bravo, Sharon, and bravo to all State Farm employees, challenging themselves to get on the board with 100 Acts of Good.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, Bring your own pen to sign the receipt. And they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
Hey Tallahassee, this is Danny Aller and Matthew Crowbaker. Join us for the Saturday morning bottle share every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday. Brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I hope this Monday finds you doing well. I hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. Should mention that, by the way. Happy Mother's Day, belated as it is, to all of you mothers out there. Hope you had a good one over the weekend. We spent a lot of time outside this weekend. I hope you guys got a chance to do it too. It was, if you're listening in Tallahassee, you know, stunning weekend.
Zoom called my mom for Mother's Day yesterday, and she's starting to get antsy because she colors her hair. And the roots, man.
Isn't that supposed to open this week, too?
She's like, yeah, today. Today. But I don't know that she's going right away, obviously, given her age. But she's like, I don't know what the heck's going on here, man.
By the way, we're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can still use the YouTube feed to listen to the program, not see it, but listen to it. Someday, you'll see this pretty face again, guys. Hang in there. You can email us if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameronShow, and the WTSM app. Still a go. Let's welcome him in. We're wont to do that every Monday. He's my friend. He's Ira Schoffel. Warchant.com is the website. Hello, Ira. How are you?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing, man?
Doing well, buddy. Doing well. You guys have a good Mother's Day weekend?
We did, but it was pretty chill. I was a little jealous to see you down at St. Mark's.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. Like, looking at your pictures, it's like, we've taken that picture. You got to do the one in front of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
You got to do the, And, but no, it's awesome down there. We talked about doing something outside. Some of the family members are still a little skittish, but I was a little jealous, man. That would have been a nice day. I'm sure you guys had a great time.
Yeah, we did St. Mark's and we did the Toria State Park there. We did the whole thing. I used to call it Torreya, but I learned this weekend from the lady that's not Torreya.
Okay.
Yeah, and we went and the Camerons actually hiked. You've never seen or heard of that before, but we did it. We engaged in a hike. I was a little nervous. I was going to run into a bear. But things worked out. So, the whole weekend was outdoors, which was nice. You get more yard work done?
Not as much this weekend. I've got most of that underway. So
You've been a champion for yard work. That's why I asked.
We're looking at another project. Got a couple projects in the backyard, maybe in the works. But I'm gonna have to hire somebody to do that one. I'm not much with the tools, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're still hunkered down for the most part.
All right, so I read on warchant.com, I think I read this on Friday, I see the developing headline page there if you go to the website where ACC schools aim to open this fall. Let's get the scuttlebutt from you. What are you hearing? Are students going to be back on campus come the fall? And thus, and while we understand there are bigger concerns, here's your caveat than sports, or the obligatory caveat, thus they'll be able to play. Do we think that's the case? Do we think we're starting to sense a vibe that they're going to proceed with getting kids back on campus?
I think there's 2 or 3 different levels to what all's happening. I think there's the political level. I think there's the university level, staffing level, and I think there's the the football or athletics level. And I think from an athletic standpoint, I think they're looking at it like, okay, we need to prepare in case it happens. And so, for the last 2 months, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they've been doing this distance coaching and work, sending workout plans and all that stuff through distance. It seems like in the next couple of weeks, as this summer starts to, as soon as we get into the summer, now that high school's over, it seems like more of the players are talking about migrating back to Tallahassee, returning players, and I think some of the freshmen. So my guess is there's no way FSU or the coaches can be demanding that or even probably encouraging that. But I have a feeling like the players have gotten the sense that, hey, if things open back up, we're going to want to be there. So it seems like, I've just heard from several different people that players are planning to come back into town in the next couple of weeks and then, just do what they do on their own. Most of them live in apartments anyway, so it's not like they have to be on campus, but they want to be close. So I think that's one thing that's happening that makes you feel like, okay, there's some progress to that happening, but that doesn't mean anything. They still have to get through the university side and then also, the state and political side and the health side. So I think those are positive signs that they're putting some stuff in motion in case it happens. From reading the political landscape, I think the conference, the schools, for the most part, are all planning to move forward and to have football. I don't buy this. Brett McMurphy floated the thing out late last week that there's renewed interest in maybe having football without kids on campus, even if there's not students on campus still having college football. I think that's going to be a non-starter. I don't believe that that's going to happen. I think there's way too many problems with that. So, but I think they have every intention of having kids on campus. So my guess is, if I had to predict, I still believe they're going to have kids on campus. They're going to figure out some sort of mix between, if it's all online, if it's maybe part of the classes are online, part are offline, face-to-face. And I think they're going to have the athletes on campus, and the plan is going to be to play. The question I have is, I just don't know what our collective stomach is going to be for the reality that some kids are going to test positive. And then what happens then? Because, I was seeing with the German league, they've already had a couple players test positive. They shut that team down into quarantine for 2 weeks. And, I just don't know, with these being college kids, I don't know how we're going to handle that, how the people at large in the universities are going to handle that. It seems inevitable that that's going to happen. So I think they're going to plan to move forward with it, but how far we get, I think, is anybody's guess.
Yeah, how much risk are you willing to tolerate, and what is your response to the bad news when it comes, and it is most certainly going to come. You cannot reopen the world for business, and that includes college campuses and big-time college football, and not expect to see that players and coaches alike are going to test positive. It's a matter of whether or not that brings everything to a screeching halt or not. And I don't know the answer to that. That seems to lie more in line with the testing and any other mitigating medical factors that they can produce to help ease the symptoms if one is to contract the virus. So I'm curious, you're right. What will our collective stomach be? What will the collective psyche be around this issue moving forward? Because I think, to be sure, if we play, and we haven't even addressed whether or not we think they're going to play in front of people, but if they play, no doubt across the country, you're going to see a huge spike and uptick in the number of of universities and organizations and players that have COVID-19.
And then you get into the whole issue of, the FERPA rules and, what's released medical information. I mean, so many schools don't even want to acknowledge when a player has a sprained ankle. What's going to happen now if a player gets coronavirus, or a player just mysteriously is out for that week, or is everybody going to assume that there's rumors that it's coronavirus? And if it's going poorly, if somebody's, if they have it, and for whatever reason it's affecting them more so than other people in that age group might be affected, does that get disclosed? Does that not get disclosed? And then and again, we focus so much on the athletes and the coaches, and we say, in the way, I mean, I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I'll say, well, look, these athletes, they want to play. They all want to be out there because this is their chance to make it. Not only do they want to compete, but they want to prove themselves to play professional sports. Yeah, well, what about the student trainers, athletic trainers, and what about the equipment managers, and what about the officials who come out and work the practices? I mean, so there's a lot of other people with less to gain probably from this experience who are also going to be put at risk. So I don't know. I know I'm sounding negative on it. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to move forward with it. I'm just, curious to see how we handle it when the results start coming back.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I've spent much of today, both of my conversations off the air with Tom and on the air, kind of noting the trend that seems to suggest that we're going to reopen across the board sooner rather than later. And I'm talking about businesses, restaurants, universities. If you just looked at the headlines and really took a cursory glance at things like, I'll do the candy of news, which is the USA Today, right? Always palatable, always just sort of headliney. Youth baseball tournament held amid coronavirus despite concerns. Major League Baseball looks to re-enter play by June. I'm going through Fauci's headline, NFL season could be feasible by the fall. These are just the headlines. I've read a lot of papers this morning, some more in depth than the USA Today, that have very similar sort of tip your foot into the pool type headlines, where it seems to suggest collectively that's the direction we're moving in, while also understanding that we need to continue to look at the numbers and all of that. People are afraid just to say that they're doing, as our friend Corey would like to note, the calculus. That what they're saying is, hey, we get it. It's going to be bad for some folks. If you're elderly or you have pre-existing conditions that make this hard on you, you have to make different decisions than everybody else. But we're not going to let that dictate whether or not we reopen the country. That's the feeling I get. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but if you just looked at the nation's headlines, that seems to be the sense I'm getting.
No, I agree with you. And not only that, I feel like the sense is that if things start going south, in terms of, all of a sudden we start getting more cases, which it's going to happen. I mean, that's the reality of it. We're opening things up. We're going to have more cases, and there's going to be more serious illnesses. I also have the feeling right now, anyway, that I don't know if people are going to be willing to go back to what we just did.
I agree with you.
I have a feeling that people are going to be like, you know what? Let's just, it's like you're in that driving rainstorm. You're driving, and it's like, one of the couple is like, hey, let's pull over, and the other one's like, no, we're going to make it through this. And you just you clench the steering wheel, and you just kind of lean forward in your seat and just try to make it through the rainfall. I feel like that's where we are as a society. But it's easy for us to all say that right now. When we get into it, when we actually see what that looks like, it might be more than we're willing to handle. But at the same time, I also look at these unemployment numbers, and I've got friends, losing businesses and all that. And so there's not a right answer. But anybody that thinks it's black and white, we should just shut it down, or we should just open it wide up. I think, neither of those is fair either, because I think you have to see both sides.
Yeah, and I think it's evidence just going county by county, state by state. I think all you got to do is look at the conditions in a state like Wyoming and understand that it's not the same there as it is in a state like New York. So you can't have a blanket approach. You can't just say, well, I said to Tom earlier, whatever's happening in Leon County doesn't necessarily portend of what's happening in Dade County or Pasco County. I mean, so there's no uniformity to this. But brother, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. It's always a pleasure. Be well.
See you, man.
All right, take care. I just noted, Tom, with the headlines, just the headlines. Just trying to get a sense or a gauge on what's being written. What's the slant? What's the angle, if there is one? Quotes in those articles. What's the context? What are we hearing about? Seems like this week, as we start this week, there's more, I think, common ways of viewing what's going to happen in the fall. You're hearing a lot of look at every league. Look at the NBA, although there is a setback in what the NBA's plan was. But Major League Baseball, certainly the NFL, you look at that and you just get a sense that maybe it's what they want to have happen.
Yeah.
And they're just projecting their wishes, not what's the reality or the science. But clearly there is a movement and a yearning collectively for us to be able to move forward, understanding that it could be a danger or maybe it's not the right time, but we do know one thing: you can't remain like this forever.
Yeah, not unless magically we're going to get checks in the mail every couple of weeks that covers what we were getting paid earlier.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. It's not really feasible. So
where's that coming from? Where's that rain of manna from heaven?
So that's not going to happen, and that's not going to happen. And so this was always going to be about, yes, flattening the curve first and foremost, as we noted before, so that the healthcare industry could be equipped to deal with patients that they do get. But also, we knew that you could not do this in perpetuity. So at some point, you were going to have to say, okay, it's worth the risk.
But it may still be. It depends on the sport too. I mean, like golf is returning this weekend with its first exhibition. It's the Rory, Dustin,
Ricky,
and
we're a month away
Wolf.
from golf returning. Period.
Right.
It's going to happen.
So different sports have different realities and challenges. But I'd prefer that if we get to a place where everybody lets out a collective whimper and sigh and says we can't do this, I prefer that we got there through trying really hard, rather than just saying, it's not feasible. And we're canceling it through 2020, the spring of 2021.
We already had a conversation about people canceling events for a year and a half from now.
You have time. Hang the hell on here, man.
You don't have to do this.
All is not lost. I know. Like CBA, like the NBA, this is interesting with the CBA implications and what's going on moving forward. This is why the NFL Players Association was wise to sign their extension agreement with the NFL. And say, you know what? The economic realities of 12 months from now are not going to look anything close to the deal that we're getting right here, right now. Is it the most fair? No. Hell of a lot more fair than it would be in a year's time. But, yeah, it's just the money that's coming in won't be anything close to what was projected. But it's better than nothing. And if you can effort towards getting that share of the pie, then do it. And if you have to cancel because it's just not feasible, then fine. But you got to effort for it.
I think it was the punter for New Orleans. No. Sorry, check that. It was somebody. Yeah, I think it was the punter for the New Orleans Saints. Has an economics degree, smart guy. I remember reading background on who he was and why he formulated this opinion. But he sent out an email collectively like, guys, I'm just here to tell you, given what we're seeing on the horizon, because obviously the talk of the coronavirus, we're going to want to sign this deal. We're going to want to go ahead and get this done because they're not going to come back with anything better than this. In fact, it's going to be halved.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, stand down, sir.
Yeah, shut up.
You're in your own world.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, here's how it's going to be.
Yeah, if you've got a $134 million contract, this is probably not a good deal for you. The rest of us, we need to go ahead and sign this deal. Yeah.
Here is the very, very difficult, brutal part about college football in the fall, or any sport, really. Let's just say a campus has a mini outbreak, right? And the student population, a few dozen cases out of nowhere in a week. And it may be that no fans are allowed in the stadium anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point with those numbers, it's not just about people are going to catch it. Somebody's going to die.
Yes, that's correct.
So, and I'm not trying to be callous. This is just the the freaking conversation that we need to have, and I hope these institutions are ready to have. College kid dies week of the game. Are you prepared as the NCAA
to proceed
and put an in memoriam before you go to the first break in the first quarter about that kid who just passed away? You prepared to do that?
Well, that's Ira's reference to our collective stomach. Because if you make the decision that at some point you've got to move forward, then you understand you're doing so at the expense.
Right. And I'm talking, it doesn't even have to be a player or a coach or an official. It could just be a student on a campus.
Yes, of course. Yes.
You prepared to do that?
Adversely affected for whatever reason. Yeah.
You better be.
Oh, because it's coming. Well, and if you want to elevate the discourse there, Tom, let's say it's sports specific. If you do it, a player is going to die. My guess is a player will die somewhere.
Across the world?
Across the country. This country. There will be, somebody will have, it's already happened that some young people have died. There will be complications for whatever reason, pre-existing condition they didn't know about, whatever, that's going to cause complications and they're going to die. Obviously, I don't want that to happen, and that would be horrific, but I think it's likely to happen. Now, that's not a scare, fear-mongering tactic. It's just looking at the numbers.
It's the grown-up conversation.
Yeah, I just think it's going to happen, and then, what is the response? Again, the collective response to that. Do people step back aghast and go, okay, we shouldn't have done this? Or do they say, we always knew that this was a possibility, and we were willing to take that risk?
Is your stomach turning listening to this? Because mine is.
Yeah, it's unsettling. But it's a conversation forced upon us.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Family is big around here. We're family owned, family operated, family managed. And that means legacy. That means dependability. That means using Grainger. With over 1.5 million products and knowledgeable product experts, Grainger has whatever we need. And with same-day pickup and next-day delivery options, they have it whenever we need it. For over 90 years, businesses like ours have trusted Grainger. Because, like family, Grainger's got our back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gulick and Wingo.
I get the Eagles draft. I don't have a huge problem with their draft. The Packers, on the other hand, head scratcher. It's not just that they took Jordan Love, but they took a running back in A.J. Dillon, who, by the way, rewrote the record book at Boston College. Will be very productive, I believe, at the next level. But they had Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. To not take a wide receiver in a wide receiver-rich draft is the real issue I have with Green Bay.
How else is Aaron Rodgers supposed to look at this draft and perceive the way the organization thinks about him if you drafted his heir apparent with the first-round pick and then just flat-out refused to get an offensive weapon when he had been on the record like a day before the draft of saying, I think it was on Pat McAfee's radio show, we haven't drafted a skill player in the first round in 15 years. It'd be pretty cool if we went and did that. They do draft a running back in the second round and then proceed to not draft any wide receivers in this draft. How else is Aaron Rodgers supposed to take this other than, well, let's start the clock?
Gulick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hey, I didn't ask Ira about it, and you and I talk about it intermittently in all the hours of the show. Did you notice something, though? I've told you about this before when you and I were playing golf at Killarn or visiting our friends over at Southwood, but you noticed in the footage of Jordan swinging the bat, it makes that sound, just like it does with the golf club.
Yeah, I saw people debating this today, saying that, why couldn't you just claim that Michael Jordan was mediocre at baseball? I think Reinsdorf makes a hell of a point, and I think
gave him sufficient at bats.
Right. Yeah. Well, Francona as well. Mm-hmm. But to go from off the street to Double-A and not completely implode, that's for real, man. That's not nothing.
Oh, take it one step further. Batting just over 200 in Double-A baseball after having not played the sport for 14 years is an incredible achievement, honestly. I didn't know it at the time. I thought of it as an abject failure. I remember thinking, because we had antiquated ways of viewing offensive proficiency, we were still stuck in an era that solely relied on batting average, RBIs, home runs. That was the only way you judged an offensive player. Maybe runs scored. So when you see 201, you go, he can't play. Can't play a lick. Barely over the Mendoza line. What the hell is he doing out there? What a joke. But that's not the way we view offensive proficiency anymore. And we know batting average is pretty damn random in some ways, at least season by season. Batting average on balls put in play and all this other stuff is a better way of looking at it. But slugging, we began to use more advanced metrics to evaluate players. And in doing so, I don't know if Jordan would have ever gone on to the major leagues. I'm not willing to make that jump, but I'm not willing to say he wouldn't have. And I think hearing the sound off the bat and then noting that he accomplished that after not playing for 14 years in Double-A, not A-ball, not developmental baseball, but Double-A baseball. Suggests there was a decent likelihood he might have made it to the bigs at some point.
One thing that Jerry said that I thought, really? Okay. You sent him to Double-A just because you could accommodate the media? That's nuts. You could have built anything overnight if you needed to. My guess is in the structure of the Chicago White Sox, Birmingham was the most suitable market in order for the marketing of Michael Jordan for it to be capitalized on the most. I don't know what their other affiliates were. My guess is Birmingham was the best place, in short. Not because the throngs of media needed to be accommodated. What a load of... That's ridiculous. Look at the scrums in the United Center. That's not... They weren't set up like they were in a movie theater. It was a complete just madhouse. So you needed more seats for the media in Birmingham. Ridiculous.
I think some of what you see there with him in the media, meaning Jordan in the media, is that he could be incredibly gregarious. He could have fun if he trusted you, if he believed in you. But boy, if he didn't, there was always a look in his eyes where you knew he viewed you as suspect. But I I appreciated if you asked legitimate questions that he was pretty affable. He'd even chuckle with you. But when he was done, he was done. He's not unlike a coach in that way. We get this all the time, you and I. When I talk to a coach, by the way, I'm going to here shortly. Mike Martin Jr. going to join us on the show to talk about Major League Baseball's plans. But yeah, when they're done talking, they're done talking. And if you're face to face, you can see it on their face. And if it's over the phone, you can hear it in the way that they answer in the octave too. You just know, oh, he's done. She's done.
The thing about Michael that's cold and it's one of his biggest negative qualities is if he looks at you and he believes you're inconsequential and there's that expression on his face.
He sees through you.
But then he'll tell you about it too. And you're like, damn, dude, it's not enough to just give somebody that look. You got to say something about it too. I mean, in case there was any doubt that Michael Jordan doesn't think you're going to amount for much or amount to much. Jeez.
Last thing on this before the 5 o'clock hour. Did you sense that Scotty Burrell both loved and loathed Michael Jordan?
He comes off as a flight attendant. All smiles on the outside. I don't know if there's not anything, any wheels moving behind it.
No, I think
or if there's like just real sadness behind that smile.
Okay, so my wife pointed out, I like listening to her sometimes when I'm watching this because she didn't experience it in firsthand the way I did growing up watching Mike or competition in a team setting and players that are elite. And
good policy in general to listen to her and to listen to her.
But I like to hear her perceptions and views of what we're watching because I know how I view it through the prism of competition and having been a teammate and competitiveness and how that can become petty and there's a lot of machismo and I get all that. I'm a man. I have testosterone, so do you. She has less so. So I want to hear what she has to think about it. She's also a mother, so it's great, right? And she goes, ooh, Scott may think that that was all good and so on, but he's hurt right there as they go to break because there was the part where he's talking right before they go to break. When, you just had to know that Mike was fighting to get under your skin and Mike could affect you some days. And then he kind of looked off like there's still some pain there where he had been emasculated. But I think the other way to view that, and I said this to her last night, was, well, I don't think Mike would have done that if he didn't think he could play.
But there was the other part of it where some of the guys said, well, he crossed the line several times in his career. And that's where if you had the footage and you decided to play it, it could show a more, I don't know, rather than a highlight mashup, almost like he's on NFL films. He's a sideline coach and or head coach, I should say, talking to the official and the side judge, right? And they're complaining about calls. It's like a Gruden mashup of the most 50 ridiculous things he's ever said to an official, and it's back to back. If you allow for it to breathe, and then he says something again to him, and then it breathes for a couple minutes, and he says something again, and you could kind of feel the vacuum in the air, where people are going, "Oh, dude, this is just wrong." They only hinted at it. We never got to see it.
When he called him a hoe, that's like, oh, we're getting there.
You don't need music behind that. Just play it, let it sit, and then watch people walk around in the gym after that for the next 15 seconds. Like,
I will say at one point I did laugh that Phil Jackson was laughing. Phil Jackson chuckled at one of the times where he was like, "Shoot a layup, you dumbass," and then they cut Phil Jackson. He's kind of chuckling. That part was great. It was mean. Quote to what you were referencing. "Let's not get it wrong," said Will Perdue. "He was a blank hole. He was a jerk. He crossed the line numerous times." They all issue the caveat, though. They usually go on, and he does too. Looking back, we needed it. I think they know. It's the Bill Parcells conversation that every one of his players have had at varying points. So I guess sometimes he was ridiculous. Phil Simms almost weeps when he talks about Bill Parcells because of how cruel he was. And then he's like, but we did win the Super Bowl, and I guess I needed that. Like, man. It's something, I think, and we got to move on, but I do think there's something to the idea, and this is the part I always try to, is this revisionist history, or did the person know it in the moment? And that is, the person doing it, subjecting people to that kind of ridicule and motivation, however you want to look at it, did they know what they were doing, or was that just a byproduct of them being an overly competitive jerk? If you know it and there's a plan, it is much more digestible.
Okay, I think here's where he's coming from. He did know it, but for his own personal reasons.
Well, he wanted to win.
Not, I'm trying to help him get better. It's, if he's going to help me win, I've got to do this to him, rather than I'm doing this to him for his own good and development as a player.
So in that sense, they do a good job of showing you that
it's from I'm the center of the universe approach, not I'm going to be benevolent and help him through this torture that I'm about to put him through.
But in the realm of competition, that's palatable to me. Not in the everyday office. But in competition, I'm like, well, you are the best player on the team. You have to get something out of all of these other guys because you ultimately are going to be the one that leads the way. They just have to be at a different standard.
I mean, it is militaristic. It's like, I'm not going to die because you can't do this.
Exactly, yeah. Mike Martin Jr., Florida State Baseball's head man, joins us next.
Again.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
This spring, I'm making everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHcando.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's Bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Trey Wingo in the middle of that thing, with that energy, in the studio by himself, balancing everything he had to balance for 3 consecutive days, was my MVP of the weekend.
Wow, the highest praise. Adam Schefter, I'm sorry that you are not Stugatz's MVP of the weekend. We appreciate your participation in this contest.
Let me just say, when you give out the MVP to Trey Wingo, he's very worthy, but I would give an MVP and I would share it amongst 150 people who are actually at ESPN, in the control room, in the building, forced to leave their homes at a time when everybody's working
but Adam,
from home.
Adam, that's all well and fine, and you've come to the award podium and you've said the thing that will get the applause, but again, Trey Wingo was the MVP according to Stugatz, not anyone else. Now, give us what you're here for, winners and losers, Schefter, winners and losers.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
I wanted to bring in Mike Martin Jr., head coach, Florida State University baseball, to ask some questions about a kind of a confusing topic and how it impacts college coaches, the minor leagues, Major League Baseball franchises. If you don't know, Major League Baseball is going to reduce this year's amateur draft from the customary 40 rounds to 5. Which that is an extraordinary measure. Admittedly, these are extraordinary times. But there is a lot more to this. There are those who would say that Major League Baseball reducing the draft to 5 rounds is really not a surprise. And that, in fact, they've wanted to, Major League Baseball has, almost stated openly, had a goal to permanently reduce the draft to 20 rounds and to eliminate affiliated minor league teams in up to 42 cities. And all of that got us thinking about, if these things go through, what happens to the players? And so let's welcome in the head coach at Florida State, Mike Martin Jr. Meet, how you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in, Jeff. About the same as everybody else. Just trying to stay sane and look at things in a positive light. It's very difficult, obviously.
It is, and I'm glad you're doing okay, and that's good to hear. And then there is the matter of your job and what you oversee, and what I just alluded to at the outset there. If you could hear me, what are your thoughts? I guess let's just start with the immediate. Reducing the draft from 40 rounds to 5. How does that affect the player pool? How does that affect your guys? How does that affect college baseball? Let's go big picture.
It literally affects every single, young man that's a senior in high school, a junior in high school, all the way up, to the major league. It affects everybody. I mean, there's going to be kids, unfortunately, that are good players that literally there's no room for them. When it comes to junior college level or the Division II, the Division I, it's just a trickle down. I think we did the right thing in giving the kids a year back. But when you take away 35 rounds, now it gets, the roster management and everything else just becomes an absolute mess.
Think about a sport that has the, as Ken Rosenthal referenced earlier this week or last week, Major League Baseball promotes its play ball program. They're now going to draft 150 players instead of 1,200 and limit the bonuses for passed over players to $20,000 plus the cost of potential college scholarship. There are those that work in baseball that say the league should have just held up a sign that says, go play other sports.
It's kind of harsh, but it's going to take a while for this all to trickle down and everything to get back to what we're used to. That's for sure, because for the foreseeable future, it's going to change the landscape of an awful lot. And I don't know the answer. Nobody does know the answer. But again, this too shall pass.
What, as far as what you would advise young men for, on your roster? I mean, Tom and I were talking during the break before we had you on about, what does it do if you have a kid, and I'm just giving you a hypothetical, that was going to get drafted in the 18th round, 20th round or whatever, and he's got a place to go, and you've got decisions to make with your roster and scholarships, and it changes the discourse, the conversation you're going to have with somebody who has a landing area and now doesn't. I mean, I guess you don't know really, right? What is it going to look like? You told me the last time we talked this could be the most extraordinary college baseball season ever because everybody comes back.
Oh, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. I mean, there's going to be talent everywhere. It's going to be AA caliber, play on the field, and that part is exciting. For guys but next year's draft, just think about how loaded that thing's going to be.
Wow!
And guys aren't going to get drafted and get a chance to fulfill their dreams. And again, it's just the uncertainty of everything. It's just hard to even really discuss.
And it doesn't, in terms of your recruiting. Well, I guess take me through what you're telling kids now that you talk to, that, whether they're high school kids or kids that were on their way to Florida State. I don't know if there's anything that changes with your interaction with them.
Yeah, you just tell them to wait. Just wait. The first thing that has to be decided, and which just came out, is the 5 rounds of the draft. And now the NCAA's got to make a decision on how many more roster spots we get, how much more money do we get in scholarships, and then you start looking at things. Okay, this is what I need to make it through a season, and I need this many hours. And okay, well, I got to call this kid, and I got to call this kid, and it's just, again, I just hope they do the right thing, because you can't, have everybody gets another year, 35 rounds are cut, and then but you're still got 11.7 and 35 players, and 27 could be on scholarship. That is impossible. It's gonna, because you can't do it. It's whatever they say, you got to do it. So. Whether it's current players that you got to cut, or other players that are coming in, or and then what do they do? They try to go down a level, or bide some time for all the stuff to shake out. Mostly the junior college baseball is going to be talent level is going to be through the roof as well, and I think it'll go all the way down to D2 and NAIA.
I was just about to ask, 5 rounds means more talent to college baseball, or will kids sit out a year and not play after high school? I was just about to say, what's going to happen?
I do think there'll be kids that'll choose that route because they don't want their clock to start. That may take a year off, just train, jump in center hall and stuff like that. But it's just it's crazy to even think about it. Every time I almost get like in the twilight zone, even discussing this stuff.
Just get your opinion on this, because I'm kind of curious. If Major League Baseball, and by the way, it's pretty clear, the owners are only going to spend what they believe is necessary, and they're playing hardball right now with the union, and they're trying to gain more control, and so we're watching this play out. If they go ahead, and if people who have projected this for a couple of years now say that the plan happens in the 40 cities, up to 40 cities, are without minor league baseball in the near future, do you think those cities will create their own independent leagues?
Yeah, I do. There's just too many, cities that have minor league baseball. It's, critical for their economy. And I do think that's what will happen because, again, there'll be good players out there. There'll be quality baseball. They can't get into the minor leagues, MLB minor leagues, but they can, play independent ball. And I think that's exactly what, these cities will do. They'll get together and say, well, all right, we'll start our own, league or whatever. So it's crazy important for those cities.
Yeah, it's a weird time. I was reading earlier today that of the 1,410 players who played in at least one major league game last year, 1,046 of the 1,410 entered the league through the draft. And of that group, 483 of those, 46% were taken in the 6th round or later. That's all gone for this year. That's gone. Those guys have to come from somewhere else.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but that is an incredible, fact because there's so many guys that, again, our game is so different than other. You have to have so much data and so much info on these guys, and game after game after game, and some guys are late bloomers, and all these first rounders that don't make it, don't get to arbitration. There's tons of players that develop, and next thing you know, they're quality major leaguers.
It's fascinating. Have you watched any KBO?
What's that? The Korean?
Yeah, have you watched?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have. There's that and The Last Dance. That's all I've watched.
Man, I've loved The Last Dance. I've loved The Last Dance. I think I'm along with the rest of the country. I don't know, man. I want to get your thoughts because I'll ask you this, and I'm going to return to a more serious question before we sign off. But I got to ask you, I thought I would end up, just from things I've read, all these years removed from Jordan's career, about who he was. Obviously, we know what he was as a player. But they all talked about how ruthless he could be. Man, maybe it's the way they shaped the documentary. I like him more now. I like that guy. He was one tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was the ultimate, driven, self-made. People forget that he got cut from his high school team, and his passion for winning, and it was, that's why he was our guy. Growing up, we're kind of all, that's just the way it is. Old school, whatever. You do whatever it takes to win, and you don't worry about feelings. And sure, you try to be pleasant, but there's a time it's go. You got to go and go and go, and everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. And he was the epitome of that. Man, I'm with you. I like him more now because I love to see that behind the scenes.
I laugh every day, every time I see that thing, and he's ragging on players, ripping guys. I
got some stories from when he was. I had some buddies that I played minor league ball with that played with him in Birmingham. So one day we'll have a beer and I'll run through some stories.
Yeah. I want to hear this. Well, we did find out last night that he wasn't unlike any other prospect that ever tried to make it to the major leagues, and that is that he couldn't hit a curveball.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's always the slider is. Again, that was just coming out during those times. That's the only thing I have in common with Michael Jordan is I was the same time, and I couldn't hit the slider either, so it ruined both of us.
Hey, by the way, one last thing. Obviously, football is the most covered college sport, and various reports claim athletes will be returning to their college towns soon. Where are your conversations going in the past couple of weeks? Are players returning to campus soon?
I don't know anything, Jeff. I really don't. I think the fact that some of these, presidents are coming out and saying this is what we're going to do, I'm hopeful that, again, things are under control and we can do that and have a system in place of testing them and quarantining them and, okay, everybody's good, let's go. And, to get back to some normalcy. But really and true, I've got nothing.
It's a bad feeling, isn't it?
It sure is.
The not having nothing thing. And my kids ask me every day, like, well, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? Yeah, I don't know.
I know. I'm so tired of saying, same thing with my kids and buddies I don't know. Nobody knows. No, I don't know anything.
You all want to just look at each other and start crying. None of us know nothing. Be well, sir. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, Jeff. Enjoyed it.
All right, take care. That's Mike Martin Jr., head coach, Florida State baseball. Yeah. That's go read up on. We've talked about it some today, even before talking to Mike there. But go read up on what is at stake here and what's at play here. It's a power play from Major League Baseball and the owners, and Major League. I didn't realize that there was an undercurrent of this, Tom, for a few years now. That people who were on the inside, in the know, for the kind of negotiating stances that have been taking place from the Players Union, Major League Baseball, and the Minor League Baseball Association, and how they were wrangling back control of the minor leagues and looking to remove upwards of 20 to 40 minor league teams. And that's just astounding to hear about, and it is, as most things are, having to do with money.
Minor League Baseball is just such a cool, it's not off-brand because it has its own trademarks and branding and all that kind of stuff, but it's just such a cool little thing if you're in a town that has a minor league team, since we don't have one. I mean, our minor league team is Florida State baseball, but if it's June or July and I'm visiting in New York and I can go see a Cyclones game, like in the New York Penn League.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm on board, man. I'm there. And I hope that whatever cities, if there is contraction coming, it seems, like an inevitability, especially with the realities of where our economy is. I hope they find a way to band together because maybe Tallahassee gets involved and they make a bid to join an independent league. Let's do this thing.
Well, I would love that, especially if it was right in the midst of downtown. Give you a reason to go downtown. Let's go. I would be a big fan. Ken Rosenthal wrote, I referenced the article with Mike Martin Jr. that, obviously few quality players are going to sign for $20,000. They'll prefer to remain amateurs and enter a later draft or pursue another career option. And a high-revenue team could conceivably stock up on such players. 50 such players would cost you $1 million. Teams might also be unlikely to skirt the rules with under-the-table payments or other illegal inducements to undrafted players. If those players are willing to sign for such a small amount, they probably were not worth the risk of getting caught breaking the rules. And just all this stuff that the unintended consequences, the path to the major leagues being altered, the rise of independent league baseball, and
it's just such a crappy place, like a little side theater to fight this war between the players' union and baseball, because it for the implications for local economies and minor league baseball. I can't imagine all those 40 cities are losing money hand over fist. It's probably doing a lot of good. That's the crappy part of this thing, but the extent of this little behind the scenes struggle that's going on between Major League Baseball and the Players Association, I did know that, and that has been talked about a lot. Maybe not this particular part of the struggle, but that the next round of CBA negotiations were going to get ugly.
Really ugly potentially, because the professional baseball agreement, that is the PBA, you hear that referenced a lot, between minor league teams and Major League Baseball is also due to expire after this 2020 season. So there will be no games played in minor league towns this summer, in all likelihood, right? And then you have that happening, and Major League Baseball's plan, it appears anyhow, is to reduce the number of affiliated minor league teams. They've already enacted the ability to eliminate signing bonuses for rounds 6 through 10. They're going to save $1 million per team. And this is the flexing, if you will, from Major League Baseball to minor league baseball and to the Players Association regarding the new collective bargaining agreement.
And that's where it's crappy, because when you get to the bottom line and you're saying it saves you $1 million, it saves you $1 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
that's absurd.
Well, it's you go back to a Baseball America article back in 2018. Minor League Baseball signaled its understanding, and I'm quoting from that article, that the current player development contracts by which minor league baseball teams and major league teams reach affiliation agreements are going to be modified to give Major League Baseball greater control over the affiliates in the cities that house their minor league affiliates. So this was already being talked about a number of years ago. It was even agreed upon. It was understood that that's the direction it was happening. It was going in. And so this unfortunate pandemic has now led perhaps to that process being expedited and Major League Baseball having to make tough decisions as to the number of minor league franchises, the cities that house them, and who pays for the facilities to host baseball in, say, 120 towns across the country.
Baseball, the NFL, the black eye on that sport is that it doesn't have a minor league system at all. They have a free one in college athletics, right? I don't know that there's an uglier sport, though, than baseball with how the sausage is made. When you consider the way that minor leaguers are paid after they get their signing bonuses, and then you consider Central and South America and the way those signing procedures go. It is devious. It is a devious industry.
Well, but I give them credit for at least having a minor league system and layers upon layers upon layers of minor league systems, unlike the NFL, which just gets free talent, just funneled straight up to them. They don't have to pay for anything. They don't subsidize anything that's going on in college football, and now college football has been revealed to be a bit of a house of cards, and they could use a little help. And do you think the NFL is going to be like, hey, let us help you out since you've been providing our labor for all these years for free? No. They're going twisting the wind.
Yeah, Roger Goodell will be on that Zoom call with those people looking at the screen and waving at them, even though the camera's over here. You can't wave at the television and they see you. That's not how this works.
Oh, that's always good. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
Seminole headlines.
Kenny Chesney did go to East Tennessee State.
No kidding.
I'm all over it, buddy.
Studied advertising.
Look at me.
Was there in 1990. That's when he graduated.
Okay, obviously his life is good. Sitting on the porch or sitting on the beach, like when he's 70. I mean, is he gonna look back and be proud of like?
You talking about Kenny Chesney?
Yeah, his musical career, like what the art he brought to the world.
So you think he'll feel guilty for stealing Jimmy Buffett's thing?
I'm just asking,
and then
putting a twang to
mimicking it.
But my question, I'm not saying it's.
I don't think he'll feel that guilty.
Will there be a pride? I'm not saying guilty, but like, will he be filled with pride? Like,
not the way a real artist.
I think Van Morrison or they're like feeling good about what they
contributed to
society.
Humanity. Yes, I did something that elevated us as a species.
Like, I'm wondering.
No, Kenny Chesney cannot say that.
But I'm wondering if he thinks he did. Is what I'm asking.
I hope not. Like, if Jimmy Buffett knew he was garbage and just admitted it,
catchy tunes,
and was like, "I have a knack for writing these things."
I put the theme music to parties for
I that's what I do.
White people.
I'm not writing anything of any significance, but I did. Yeah. I created an element that people. They're fun songs.
Fun time.
There's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as he accepts that and he knows that.
As long as he doesn't think he's Bob Dylan, then I'm fine.
And I feel like Jimmy Buffett does. I wonder. I think he does too. Is he my tractor sexy guy?
I have no idea.
I think he's a
Pepsi commercial.
Don't act like you don't
They're
know.
all Pepsi commercials.
It was Kenny Chesney with "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy."
So, do you think when he pinned that he thought?
Did he even write it?
Probably not. But do you think that if he wrote it, he thought,
"Holy
this is right
moly.
up there"?
He did not.
Blowing in the wind.
He did not write it.
He did not write it.
Yeah.
No. But he put his personal touch to it.
I'm sure. The one that he stole from Jimmy
Buffett. It's the 20th
Buffett.
anniversary of that tune, that fine ditty.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, you knew that, Jeff. We were just talking about it the other day at lunch.
I was like, can you believe it's been 20 years since the
my
masterpiece
sexy tractor?
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Whatever it is.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Once a week, I go into a dark room and I sit back and listen to the lyrics of that classic.
Yeah.
She's always staring
That's like
at
the
me
blowing in the wind of the 90s.
when I'm chugging along.
Yeah.
It's like The Weight.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like The Weight. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Tuesday night on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday. Brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Interrupting all programs. This is a radio crash on Pirate Satellite.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. I do appreciate you joining us for the conversation. Always a pleasure. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live. Via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do go back, get caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours posted upon the conclusion of the show always. There you go. All 3 hours right there on the iTunes, where you can rate, review, share, and help others get acquainted with the program. Appreciate that. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. YouTube up and running, but just the audio. Someday we'll see each other again, or I'll be able to look into that camera and know that you're looking back at me, which aids the ego greatly. I'm kidding, kind of. Now, that said, I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope certainly this week provides more answers than not. We've talked a lot about what the various leagues are doing and this feeling of momentum, but I don't know if it's the right thing. It's just certainly something to observe and discuss as more and more information comes down the pike about what leagues are planning to do. Hell, for that matter, what the nation plans to do, what the cities that we live in are planning to do. So, every day there seems to be a lot of info to digest, and I think this week is going to contain the most amount of impactful information as it pertains to whether schools open back up, universities that is, and then, of course, whether or not sports are on the table. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. The bottom line is this, that yes, we need to know that it's safe to do so. We need a lot of things to be in place in order for us to do that. But what most people within the sound of my voice care about, let's really get very specific, is whether or not Florida State football is going to be played. And, we're monitoring what's going on in the recruiting world. It seems every day there's a real positive uptick in the amount of kids that Florida State is hearing back from and that they're offering, and of the 4-star variety at that. So I do feel like this staff is still doing their due diligence. They're looking far and wide for the best players to upgrade this roster. We see that on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I wonder, this year if it's because the cycle will go through at least December for early signing day, but I wouldn't be surprised if they push it back to the original one in February just to give everybody some more time for evaluation and visits, if these are even possible, the visits and the evaluation because football exists. I would think the swing and miss rate in this upcoming class is going to be huge, and or late movement, where a university has had a kid committed for, maybe 2 months, 3 months now, then they get to see him on the field again, they go, woo, wait a minute, mistake. Yeah. He's college football material, but not college football Alabama material. So I just wonder what that's going to look like in the shuffling process, because kids develop, and some of them aren't going to handle this well. And it's going to negatively impact their viability as a blue chip recruit because they didn't work out or they didn't do what they were supposed to, and they're battling depression or whatever it is. There's a lot of things to consider. I would think that these Zoom calls are very important, too, for the coaches, because you got to see, how does a kid handle this moment?
Well, yeah, golly. I just listening to you talk about that, it really kind of shot me back into time thinking when this all first broke, what in the world are they going to do? What the coaches, Coach Norvell and staff, new to the program, new to each other in some cases, certainly new to the kids that they're going to have to coach and those that they're hoping to bring in and change the hearts and minds and work ethics of. Man, it is such a terrible setback. And again, I get there are more important things, but what a weird thing to encounter in year one of a rebuild for a coach who, comes on the heels of such a quick turnaround to having done the same thing for just 2 years ago, meaning the university and Willie Taggart's efforts. The inroads that they were making seem to be evident, but how much of that has been disrupted, how much of that does create a new set of challenges as it pertains to buy-in, kids being in shape, body type, nutrition, all of it, let alone the learning of a playbook and the implementation of, not just the new playbook and the new offense and the new defense, but the competition within the depth chart and all of that they missed out on. It's really, really frustrating to think about. At the same time, again, you almost feel a little guilty thinking about those things, but it's a reality.
When I feel that frustrated or I get into that, rabbit hole that you're not on YouTube, it's just in your own head. You're in a rabbit hole of all these thoughts and how they're all interconnected. Just remember this, that somewhere Doris Burke is thinking about Kawhi Leonard's hands. And she's got a smile on her face. And that'll make you feel better instantly. Just picturing Doris in the thought bubble and seeing Kawhi's massive hands. But I do think, on a serious note about this staff, this is as prepared a staff as you're going to have to handle something like this that you can expect without having this thing operating, as you've always said, at peak efficiency. Without it being the machine of Florida State football. Everybody who has worked with Mike Norvell over in that building that has seen Jimbo and they've seen Willie and the different ways they went about doing their jobs, they said that this guy is even more detail-oriented than Coach Fisher, which is precisely what you need in this moment.
Oh, desperately.
There's nothing more that you can do. You're stuck in the situation you're stuck in, but of the things that Coach Norvell can control, he will control. And to me, that's a comforting thought. Does it set us further behind the pack in the short term? It might.
I think so. I think it does.
But at least you have this guy who's minimizing that gap that's being created as much as possible.
Yeah, and if there's a way to create an advantage somehow, some way during this difficult time apart, I suppose having a real aggressive, forward-thinking, well-organized, young, hungry coach is to Florida State's advantage, right? I mean, without question.
We'll see about all the other stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, Willie had a really good first offseason, too, in making people feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Coach Norvell, there's a gap in the way they prepare, or they're not ready to face Clemson down with Brent Venables and what he brings to the table. And when they match wits, we lose. But in this regard, for this particular function, at the very least, the thing that we know about Coach Norvell is he's up to the task.
Yeah, and on that front of recruiting and doing what you can during times like this, Florida State did add, we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet because it happened a couple days ago. A few days ago, FSU adding the UCLA grad transfer at tight end. And in doing so, they bring in Jordan Wilson. He was leaving the Bruins program. He announced that back in January. He confirmed over the weekend on social media that he's going to play his final season here at Florida State. If you think about Trey McKitty leaving early, now you bring in a tight end. And he was originally a 3-star kid out of Nashville, signed with UCLA. You just look at his body type. You think about what he is. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. He did start 6 games in 2017, his freshman season. He came off the bench for the last 2 years. Again, you don't suspect that when you get a kid like this, he's going to come in and dominate and change the outlook of your offense, because the fact that he had to come off the bench at UCLA doesn't necessarily bode well for him to come here and dominate. That said, I will say that position, which for Coach Norvell appears to be critical, and we look at the average number of catches for tight ends in his offense at Memphis, it's over 30. They also move those guys around as sort of a pseudo H-back, the way we would have viewed it in the past, sort of fullback, H-back, tight end type thing. They multi-purpose the position and in his offense. I like having a person who's played big-time college football and started games at the position to come in here, if anything, at least for depth, right? I mean, we know Wyatt Rector and Carter Boatwright, the true freshman, who I got to see in practice. And then Cam McDonald, who I interviewed before the season started. They moved in. That tight end position's pretty deep, but now they've got really good experience and competition. So I'm pretty excited to kind of look at what that becomes, because Cameron McDonald's physically gifted. He's a smart kid. Some say he's got to get tougher. He's got to be a lot tougher. So let's see if that transformation happens, because a lot is expected of that position. If he's not tough enough, he will not play. I will say I was pleasantly surprised by Wyatt Rector, watching a guy that was a quarterback transition to that position. His body type is right. He's a workout monster, but he was more fluid than I thought he would be when I went out to practice and saw those 3 practices. I even saw him in pads, and he was still fluid, looked good. I think they have real high hopes for him. Carter Boatwright looks the part as a true freshman, like he's going to be a good football player. Now you add this experience to that lot. You got quite a few guys that can contribute at the position right off the bat.
Well, this is what you said, multi-purpose, and I'll circle in on the purpose part of the position. It's really important in this offense.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of functions to it. You could just be a blocker, and you could help out, a less than stellar tackle game that we have on the offensive line. And if that's your role, so be it. That's your role. But where Jimbo had a huge purpose for the fullback in his offense, or an H-back, and Coach Taggart really didn't have that much of a role for a tight end in his offense, this one uses him, man, and they use him. They'll have 2 or 3 on the field at the same time in certain packages. So, yeah, you need to fortify the ranks there. Attrition is going to happen at that position.
I'm excited because I love the tight end, and I love the teams that I watch that utilize them. They can be such an advantage. It's a mismatch. You can create. The idea is to create mismatches all over the field and give yourself options. You can really create it with that position. You see the really good football teams across America utilize that position. That makes it impossible for a linebacker to cover, or a safety who lack the size to cover a tight end. You get those tweeners. The game is about tweeners these days. Kids that are capable of playing more than one position. You see that a lot. These freaks, as we call them. It started. Our greater conversation really kind of started with Jalen Ramsey and Derwin James and guys like that who could come down into the box and play the role of a linebacker. They were big enough and strong enough to handle that if they needed to. They could tackle along the line of scrimmage, but they were quick enough to guard receivers. They could guard in the slot. They could do a lot of different – you could rush them. You could do a lot of things with them. I feel like tight ends are kind of that position now. You see a lot of 6'4", 250-ish type guys that can be a blocker, like you said. They got good technique and the requisite strength, but they're also quick enough that they become a problem. And, of course, obviously they have to have the ability to catch the football. It's where you look at a guy like Gronk. He just made it impossible because he was such a good blocker. He was 260-plus pounds, but he could really run. And obviously, he caught the football.
Yeah, and he was regarded as somebody with great form and ability as a blocker, not just getting down the field and being a mismatch and having ball skills and
he was a devastating
creating
blocker.
separations.
He was, yeah.
Well, that's so valuable. I mean, we've had guys here in the last 10 years that
did one or the other.
Well, sure, but you had some guys play fullback under Jimbo. Thunder Freddie Stevenson, man, that guy was important.
My man.
When Lonnie Pryor left, who really was your guy. We thought Chad Abram, I don't know, man. And that guy ended up being really important.
Yeah, he did.
And we thought Freddie was going to pass him, and he didn't. Chad was a big part of what we did. And they might only catch the ball, 10, 15 times.
Including in a national championship
But
game.
on 3 or 4 plays a game, you're like, God, if we didn't have that there as a secondary part to the play, the whole thing completely collapses. And that's where, to me, if Gabe Neighbors just had one more year,
it's a shame what happened
perfectly in
this
this system.
Yeah, I like Gabe Neighbors a lot. I always felt like he was a little bit underutilized, and yeah, he really kind of
Jimbo would have used him.
Yeah, he would have used him a lot, and his body type was perfect for it. Yeah, frustrating. Anyhow, so that's all the FSU news. Not a lot. I mean, we're out there recruiting. We're watching that. We're paying attention to it. And now, really, the conversation shifts to: we gonna see these guys play or not? I mean, who knows? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' at midnight. All gonna hold my baby all my might. What a wonderful time we had tonight. Hey, there's good rockin' at midnight.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Tallahassee's tastiest jumbo wings are back in force. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Your home has been a place of great comfort. We can help you keep it that way. Barano Heating and Air is helping you get ready for summer with $1,500 off select new units, 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus worry-free maintenance plans. Learn more or schedule online at baranoac.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air today. Florida license CAC 1816186.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, Bring your own pen to sign the receipt. And they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
'80s hair metal rockers would not have done well with COVID. They struggled with so many diseases. They really, really would have struggled.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, without getting too particular, probably more deadly ones.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Few. The new whatever commercial that is with the rat in the basement is funny.
Especially if you consider addiction a disease.
Addiction, promiscuous behavior.
Which may be a symptom of addiction of another kind.
Could be, yeah. Zion Williamson's former marketing agency is alleging that the family of the former Duke star and current New Orleans Pelicans rookie took money to steer Williamson to Duke. And certain shoe companies, according to court documents publicized this past weekend, the allegations amount to a surprising twist in a saga of dueling lawsuits that could have implications for Duke if the allegations from Prime Sports Marketing are deemed credible by the NCAA. Uh-oh. The documents, which were shared on Twitter by The Athletic, legal analyst Daniel Wallach, are from civil court in Miami-Dade County, part of a civil lawsuit against Williamson and his current agents filed by Prime Sports Marketing. A 5-page request for admissions filed by the plaintiffs asked Williamson to admit that his mother and his stepfather demanded and received gifts, money, and other benefits from the persons acting on behalf of Duke University. Plot thickens. Duke spokesman Michael Schoenfeld said in September to the Durham Herald Sun that an outside investigation was conducted once the school was alerted to potential eligibility issues. Quote, as soon as Duke was made aware of any allegation that might have affected Zion Williamson's eligibility, we conducted a thorough and objective investigation, which was directed by individuals outside the athletic department. We found no evidence to support any allegation that Zion thrived or that Zion received benefits from Duke University. Zion thrived as a student athlete at Duke and has always conducted himself with the most amount of integrity.
You're god dog right, they didn't find anything.
They never were going to, were they?
Correct.
They were never. The court document publicized alleges that Williamson's parents accepted benefits from representatives of Nike and Adidas in order to influence, so they're getting paid.
Oh, I like this. Yes, I read the bullet points on what this lawsuit alleges. So Nike was giving him money to go to Duke, and Adidas was giving him money to wear their shoes. So you get money from both apparel companies
yeah,
to go play for Duke. Outstanding. Well done.
Prime Sports Marketing initially signed Williamson as a client after his freshman season at Duke, but just over a month later he signed with another agency, prompting Prime Sports to pursue legal action to enforce their contract with Williamson. Williamson, however, filed a federal lawsuit against the initial contract with Prime Sports Marketing as being unenforceable, so we shall see. I just hope it reveals that Duke gave his parents and him tons of money to go there. I just want to see the press conference with Krzyzewski. The indignant press conference from Mike Krzyzewski, in which he'll blame the system.
Now, what kind of question is that? Yeah. That's not a question.
I want that. I'm eagerly anticipating that press conference in which he grows more and more frustrated by the questions asked of him that he believes to be beneath him.
You can't handle the truth.
It would go something along those lines. But each time the question is asked, attempting to get to the heart of the matter, you see the frustrations growing as he holds in contempt the media doing their job and those that would cast a negative light on him, much the way that Urban Meyer did when he was questioned and then sat next to his athletic director at Ohio State.
Shut up. Shut your god dog mouth. Jeff Capel is one of us. You shut up.
That was something this past year.
These kids are like, what?
What are you doing?
What are you talking about? He's one of us.
Every week he would say something disparaging about the student body there. I was like, what are you doing?
Have some respect.
Oh, that was great. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Roofing and construction services. TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Not every law firm is the same. For example, you don't hire a divorce attorney to handle a foreclosure. The same goes for your insurance claim. Hire a firm that has the knowledge and experience in handling insurance matters. The Morgan Law Group is dedicated solely to this cause, fighting insurance claims that are underpaid, delayed, or denied. With offices throughout Florida, the Morgan Law Group covers claims for all hurricanes, storms, mold, fires, boats, and even sinkholes. Representing the policyholder, going after the insurance companies. The Morgan Law Group. Offices Miami, Orlando, Naples, and Panama City. Online at policyadvocate.com.
Not an employee or member of a law firm.
And now, an ad from Dad.
All right, what do we got here? Save money on car insurance when you bundle home auto with Progressive. Save money on car insurance. You ready? Save money on car insurance when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. That sounded pretty good, don't you think? I could do it one more time, but I think that's... What do you say? Nailed it, right? Nailed it.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
I know it's not all about me, but one by one, while things are taken from us, events canceled well in advance of when they need to be. Well, add to the list, my friend. You saw where the 2021 World Baseball Classic is now on the list. It will not be played next year due to the COVID-19 crisis. Scheduled, it was from March the 9th through the 23rd of 2021. Not going to happen. They're talking about 2023 now. Will be the next time that the World Baseball Classic will reconvene.
It's difficult. A lot of the international travel-based events are just being shelved.
Yeah,
because,
16 different countries, yeah.
I mean, that is one where we talk a lot about canceling things early and or what is reasonable.
But you get it. I mean, you can't have people going to Taiwan and Tokyo.
Right.
And
yeah, this thing is going to be popping up all over the world for wave 1, wave 2, whatever it is, different severity for quite a bit of time. So it makes sense to me that if you want to put the kibosh on international events that are going to be, attended by scale with a lot of people, a lot of players, you might want to do that and get out in front of it.
Yeah, well, remember the Arizona Diamondbacks, that's Chase Field, and of course, once again down in Miami, Marlins Park, they were set to host here in America. And then you had the Intercontinental Baseball Stadium in Taiwan, as well as the Tokyo Dome in Japan. They were all set to host different rounds, and that says nothing of all the teams that were going to have to travel to these different locations. It was 16 different countries, 4 different spots, yeah.
Just think about how interesting it's going to be, though, to hear from Rory McIlroy or Dustin Johnson this weekend as they play. I don't want to hear from Ricky Fowler, as you can tell, as they play in this exhibition
He's
event.
a nice enough guy. You're mad at him because he doesn't win.
He's got plenty of FaceTime. He can go tell me about, Farmers Insurance.
Right.
But to hear from these guys what it's like to play in an event. I know that that's an exhibition. It's not the actual PGA Tour. But as baseball players return to camps, training facilities are opened, the PGA Tour rolls out in earnest in about a month's time. EPL starts in a month. Like, to hear the accounts from these players on what that looks like When you show up at the facility, what do you have to do? You got to go to your testing room. I mean, like, it's going to be really fascinating.
Well, if you go back to when the coronavirus pandemic shut down sports, to where we are as we sit here today and think about being a month away, about the PGA Tour restarting, what you just mentioned with the EPL, and their efforts to resume in golf anyhow, their schedule at the Charles Schwab at the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. That's June the 11th. You guys remember that date. It's my birthday. Right? Everybody knows that. It also unveiled a revised schedule to the PGA Tour.
I like how you gave the gap for people to say, right, of course.
Oh, yeah, we knew, Jeff. Yeah. Just a reminder. By the way, it's unfortunate this year, those of you that normally drop off gifts to me on my birthday cannot do so due to the coronavirus pandemic. If you'd like, just leave money in an envelope. You can leave that on the door, address it to me. I'll buy what I need. That way you're not at risk. I'm thinking of others, Tom.
That's right.
Regarding my birthday that they want to be a part of.
They just want it, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need, who was it? Was it Mr. Rogers or Soupy Sales? One of the kids hosts told, hey kids, why don't you go into mom and dad's wallet and send old Uncle Soupy or Uncle,
And they did?
And they did.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them did. And they figured out how to use a stamp and everything.
Oh, no. But kids, don't do that. And if you do, that's awfully nice of you. I'm 120% comfortable.
Cannot legally do that. So,
and confident. I'd start next week if I could, quote unquote, said Justin Thomas. All right. Justin's ready to go.
He's ready to jockey it on again.
He also noted that it's unbelievable the work they have put into all these plans and thought processes. Undoubtedly, the task of getting back to playing competitive golf in the wake of this pandemic is monumental. The tour shut down on March the 12th. A total of 9 tournaments weeks have passed, costing the tour millions and millions of dollars. But also, Bob Herrig points this out, and he's absolutely correct. Say what you will about the uppity nature of professional golf and golf in general and country clubs and all of that. The truth is the PGA Tour, in addition to being exactly that, uppity that is, really donates a massive percentage of their dollars, comparatively speaking to other leagues, to local charities that house those events or are located in the cities in which their events are being held. And they're missing out on those donations from the players, from the PGA Tour, and from the patrons. Now, the patrons part of this won't happen, but again, shedding light, providing a spotlight even on those charities the week of those events will resume along with the PGA Tour. And nobody sells the fact that they have charitable connections to local communities better than the PGA Tour. Hell, they have the people sit in the booth to talk for an entire 20 minutes. Most of the time, that's when you're turning away.
That's correct. That's when I get my break.
That's when you get your break. Here we go. Yeah. But, I mean, they do that. They are all in. Well, they have 4 days of coverage, and they can afford to do it. They got to fill time. But they do, and it is nice to think of it in that way. Brooks Koepka said he's ready to come back as soon as possible. Max Homa said as much. Pat Perez says he still has some questions, not entirely certain whether he's desirous to fly to Fort Worth at this point. But it does look like most of the players, we kept wondering about whether or not players were excited to get back to playing. The answer has been a resounding, in the world of golf anyhow, a resounding yes.
Good, because if the biggest players are interested in playing, and that's what obviously Rory's doing this weekend, and Tiger and Phil will be doing 2 Sundays from now. If they're interested in doing it, and the actual organization's interested in doing it, then they're going to do it. It would be dissent from one of the 2 ranks, or an abundance of concern in terms of what they're releasing to the public.
Yes.
That would slow this thing down. They're going to play next month. I fully believe that now.
I do too, and the way it works is this, and just talking about this out loud, I can feel the excitement building for me. Now, I like golf. I love golf. You do too, so it stands to reason we'd be excited about this, but I have a feeling they're in for the greatest ratings they've ever seen for the freaking Charles Schwab, and that's probably true of the RBC Heritage, the Travelers Championship, and the Rocket Mortgage Championship. People, the Rocket Mortgage is this weekend. Let's go.
Well, think about this too: the opportunity without galleries that you could put up billboards around the greens. Bank it off the billboard. Come on.
The John Deere Classic, July 9th through the 12th, is scheduled to be played with spectators, by the way.
What are the dates there?
July 9th through the 12th.
I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, that's the next hurdle. Let's see. That's in July.
That's hard, though, because for a golf tournament, so what do you say? That friends and family of the players can go and local residents, but you can't, travel in from a different state? That's where it gets difficult.
Ratchet up that testing. The Memorial Tournament, scheduled July 16th through the 19th, is planning for spectators at the Muirfield Village, with fewer fans allowed and distancing measures being enforced. And they have a tracking device on the badges you are forced to wear if you're attending the event.
Okay. And
to make sure you're social distancing.
What does it do? Beep?
It tells them where the hell you are.
You're golfing.
No, I don't know if it beeps, but there's somebody at a master control station going, number 121 is all up on, folks. Get them out of here.
So people in hazmat suits go
run and grab your ass.
Chuck your ass into the parking lot?
Players, caddies, tournament officials, and tour employees are going to be tested every day. And it's interesting. There are those who say they feel comfortable that testing will be thorough and that the PGA Tour will do a really good job. Sounds like each person will be tested, even the walking scorers, the officials, to make sure we are COVID-free and healthy. I feel good with that process. I'm excited to get back to playing that. The latest from Brendan Todd. Nobody's really worried about whether Brendan Todd wants to play or not, but he said he is ready to go.
I like how you're according to Brendan Todd.
Brendan Todd.
At any rate.
He's a good player, actually, a really good player, but he is Brendan Todd.
As his name would suggest. It's just that name doesn't even stand out. You're like, Brendan Todd.
Well, remember at the end of last year, he got hot. He won 2 tournaments in 3 weeks. He's a 2-time winner on tour. Brendan Todd got hot. He started swinging it. He got good.
Well, if he does it, he'll now be a household name because everybody will be watching this on the weekends.
Yeah, old Brendan Todd now. He's playing. Brendan Todd, let's find out. He is, he's got 3 top 10s. He's currently ranked number 9 in the world.
What? He's a top 10 player in the world?
Dude, last year he got hot as a firecracker. He was, I'm pulling up all his numbers, old Brendan Todd, by the way. Yeah, man. My man's been good. He was minus 13 at the American Express last year. He, he made over $1 million last year, Tommy, just on tour earnings.
Number 9 in the world. See, I know a lot of people hear golf names and I have no idea who that is. Who is Phil Mickelson? For me and you who follow this closely, Brendan Todd's a top 10 player?
I didn't know he was top 10, but I correctly noted he's won twice on the tour. He has 3 top 10s in just the last 2 years. He earned over $2.5 million last year. He played 14 events. He made 11 of the cuts of the 14 events, and his average score was 69.
Nice. Well, you should have an encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff. You work for the PGA Tour channel, for crying out loud.
I do, and we're going back live, by the way, this Wednesday night.
Are you really?
Yeah, live, me and Trey, 9 to 10 p.m. on the PGA Tour Network there. That should be a lot of fun.
Spacing out in Cassidy Jones or what?
I'm supposed to call him after the show on my way home, so we'll find that out. We could be spacing out there. We have the means to do so. He's got a lovely home. There's plenty of space. We could do it out on the porch. He's got a wonderful porch by the pool. Trey, if you're listening, I'd like to do this by the porch, by the pool. Tasty beverage or 2 outside. Yeah, we'd be good to go.
I think you should do it even though it's dark. Well, actually, you might still have a little bit of dusk
light
when
as
it
we
starts.
start. Yeah.
I'm greenside on number 16 at the beautiful Southwood Golf Club in Tallahassee, Florida.
His place it doesn't suck. He's also got a putting green. A little putting green by the pool.
So.
By the pool. Right by the pool, yeah. We should do it up. I made several putts on that green.
When you were in break or what?
Yeah, no. Well, before we did a show one night, went out there and, I'll disclose. Brooks Koepka had sent his U.S. Open putter to the house to give to Trey's son, and we putted with it.
No way.
Yeah.
You don't even like Brooks.
I like Brooks just fine. I like Brooks just fine. I don't love him the way you do. And that, it wouldn't hurt you to wear a little garnet every now and then, my man.
Hey, I have been saying that for a long time. A little Saturday garnet? It doesn't even have to be Sunday, dude.
A little something.
Maybe mustard yellow with a garnet check?
Wouldn't hurt.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
With a Bojangles 3-piece chicken supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
Seminole headlines.
Kenny Chesney did go to East Tennessee State.
No kidding.
I'm all over it, buddy.
Studied advertising.
Look at me.
Was there in 1990. That's when he graduated.
Okay, obviously his life is good. Sitting on the porch or sitting on the beach, like when he's 70. I mean, is he gonna look back and be proud of like?
You talking about Kenny Chesney?
Yeah, his musical career, like what the music, the art he brought to the world.
So you think he'll feel guilty for stealing Jimmy Buffett's thing?
I'm just asking,
and then
putting a twang to
mimicking it.
But my question, I'm not saying it's.
I don't think he'll feel that guilty.
Will there be a pride? I'm not saying guilty, but like, will he be filled with pride? Like,
Not the way a real artist.
I think Van Morrison or they're like feeling good about what
I
they contributed to society.
humanity. Yes, I did something that elevated us as a species.
Like, I'm wondering.
No,
if
Kenny Chesney cannot say
that. But I'm
that.
wondering if he thinks he did. Is what I'm asking.
I hope not. Like, if Jimmy Buffett knew he was garbage and just admitted
catchy tunes
and was like, I have a knack for writing these things.
I put the theme music to parties for
I that's what I do.
White people.
I'm not writing anything of any significance, but I did. Yeah. I created an element that they're fun songs.
Fun time.
There's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as he accepts that, and he knows that.
As long as he doesn't think he's Bob Dylan, then I'm fine.
And I feel like Jimmy Buffett does. I
think he does too.
Is he my tractor sexy guy?
I have no idea.
I think he's a
Pepsi commercial.
Don't act like you don't
They're
know.
all Pepsi commercials.
It was Kenny Chesney with She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
So do you think when he pinned that he thought...
Did he even write it?
Probably not. But do you think that if he wrote it, he thought, this is right
moly.
up there?
He did not.
Blowing in the wind.
He did not write it.
He did not write it.
Yeah.
No. But he put his personal touch to it.
I'm sure. The one that he stole from Jimmy Buffett.
It's the 20th anniversary of that tune, that fine ditty.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, you knew that, Jeff. We were just talking about it the other day at lunch.
I was like, can you believe it's been 20 years since the
my
masterpiece
sexy tractor?
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Whatever it is.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Once a week, I go into a dark room and I sit
on.
back and listen to the lyrics of that classic.
Yeah.
She's always staring
That's like
at
the
me
blowing in the wind of the 90s.
when I'm chugging along.
Yeah.
It's like The Weight.
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like The Weight. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Tuesday night on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wrapping it up, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's been good to be with you. I do not take for granted this opportunity every day to sit down and have a conversation with all of you. I know Tom doesn't either, and I'm reminded of that as I think about the people who are struggling right now in various ways. I think we all are, whether it's as a business or an individual or in our household, but it is good to share this time together. I mean that genuinely, and I'm trying to make it more of a habit to tell you that, whether it's when we're signing off or just starting. So just an aside.
Yeah, I value these conversations. I don't like them because they're not easy.
Right.
especially when you're talking. You can't even opine on what's right. Ira nailed it to start the 4 o'clock hour. There's no right answer. But the conversations that we're going to have, they're not about why the offensive line sucks for the 5th straight year. It's at what point do you want to restart this thing, and what is palatable? That's impossible. I mean, the answer is different for everybody. But these big organizations are going to be making these calls, and these really difficult ones. We often joke about it, but this is precisely why you get paid the big bucks. Crisis management. Because these decisions are going to paint your league, your university, your business for a long, long time, if it exists that long.
Yeah, I think the kind of indecision that you loathe is one that furthers sort of this. Well, I got to be careful. I don't want to be overly critical. It's hard to lead right now, to your point. And if you can find somebody that does a very good job of it, and some of the answers won't be known for months, even years. But when you witness at least the short-term leadership, it is so welcomed. Because there is so much in doubt right now. There is so much that's unknown right now. It's hard to lead, concretely grasp something, move forward boldly in a way that helps others.
And you have to be prepared to tell people bad news and just be straight up.
Or admit that you're wrong. Admit that the approach taken was the wrong one, because we're learning so much all the time.
Debates I'm having with my friends about this stuff, they evolve. They don't stay the same. It's not the same thing as it was in March 18th.
Information changes.
And I'll say I was wrong about the way I felt 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, because you're right. The information does govern you in different directions. The question is, at what point do you have enough to go on to fix a position or fix a protocol moving forward? And then come what may, because come what may means something pretty grim.
Yeah, how grim is open for debate, and that goes on all too often along political lines. And that again, I don't get caught up what's on the margins there. I'm eating the meat and potatoes there every day, just trying to find what is and what isn't true, and then kind of govern decisions based on that, and hope that others in a position of power are doing so. But I don't like when the feeling that I have one way or the other, negative or positive, is so subject to change so frequently. I hate that, because we like things that are customary. We like routine. We like knowing that you can count on something. I remember having the conversation about routine and why that aids an athlete, for example. The less decisions you have to make on a daily basis about what you eat and what you're going to do in terms of working out to meet a certain goal, the better. You want certainty, because your life is governed by an ultimate goal. So how do I best reach that goal? We're going to do these things every day at this time.
Yeah.
We all want that. Kids need that. That's what school does. That's discipline. It provides that. And when you don't have it, and you have to open yourself up to that change on a daily or weekly basis, which is necessary given what we're talking about here and the information that comes in that changes your mind, it's still unsettling. It still leaves that nervousness in the pit of your stomach and that uneasiness when your head hits the pillow.
No, it's like watching the forecast cone of a hurricane, and it's much different because we're all going to get hit by this storm. It's a matter of how seriously. But the cone is moving and shifting, and we have these conversations all too often now in Tallahassee with our own families. When do I evacuate? Right?
Right.
At what point? So if it's Monday, storm's supposed to make landfall on Saturday, but we don't know if it's going to hit in Alabama, if it's going to hit over Orlando, or anywhere in between. At what point do we make a decision? Which way do we go? This feels like that for 2 months.
Yeah.
Except it's not just Tallahassee. It's the whole damn country. It's the whole damn world. And that's the tough part, because it's going to hit different places in different ways. Some places not that much at all, at least for quite some time. And that's tough, because now you're telling people to invest in something that they don't see the effects of. Good luck explaining that to your local constituents.
Do you think we're going to feel, do you think that the buildup and thrust towards returning to football in the fall and your major sports returning to action at some point, either later this summer or in the fall, do you think that momentum that I'm talking about and that I've described today is going to exist on Friday?
Yes. Yeah.
Me too.
I think
Me
we're
too.
going there.
Well, I asked you that for a specific reason because you and I have both noted how on a day-to-day basis that sense of or that feeling changes. That's what's been really kind of the norm, is that one day to the next there's no certainty of where your headspace is going to be surrounding the issue of sports and the return of sports. And I get it again. I know there are more important things. But for the longest time now, there hasn't been a collective sense that we're moving towards a date or a belief or a shared belief, I should say. And this week, this show, it's a Monday, it's right now, it feels like that something happened over the weekend. Something happened late last week and on into the weekend that sees us moving more in that direction.
Yeah, I think I'm not trying to speak for the people at large.
No, either am I.
I think it's been a multi-week thing where people are saying, okay, so this is the scope of what could be. Okay, well, I understand as much as I can in this moment, and let's press forward. Let's move on. And it's not that there won't be tough things between now and whenever this is, something in the past. There will be, but now I know the risks. Now I know, the pitfalls, and I'm going to set my own procedure, and I'm going to move forward. And that could be with a business owner cap on, with the head of a family cap on.
Yeah.
On a very individual level, if you're a college kid or whatever. I think people they've got their arms around it as much as they can. I mean, think about all the leagues. They're very comfortable talking about restarting and having those conversations on the record instead of anonymous sources around, NBA officials say. Adam Silver's willing to talk about it. Rob Manfred's willing to speak. You're seeing players and representatives from the leagues when they're on a conference call between Players Association and league. They're willing to speak about what they talked about on the call. They weren't. Nobody was comfortable from a marketing or public relations standpoint of commenting on anything 6 weeks ago. That the conversation is happening tells me that, as Ira was talking about, stomachs are getting stronger to handle this.
Yeah, well, and desperation is growing. That's the other reason. I mean, let's just face it, there's a financial desperation.
It's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing, but it's a financial, financial desperation is also emboldening those that didn't think they had the stomach to say, maybe I do. Good work out of you. Our thanks to Mike Martin Jr. and Ira Chaffel for joining the program. If you missed any portion of the show, it'll be posted here in mere moments. All 3 hours go up on iTunes. You can find it that way and go back and listen at your leisure, perhaps on a long walk tonight, enjoying the great weather. I don't know. Maybe even a run or a biking session. Perhaps you'll listen first thing in the morning when you wake as you take a shower with me and Tom. Be well.
Maybe we can drive down to Clearwater and do some squats outside the courthouse.
I'll squat. You wave the flag. Have a good night, everybody.
You can't beat the house. Tell the man somebody
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Chris Cody and Billy Gill had an interaction where Chris Cody, for some reason, just said, Billy, Cavalieri, Cutler, Splits. And evidently, Billy is very Cavalieri.
Oh, I was very Cavalieri. I was very Jay. I was very... I don't know how much of a fan of Taylor I was. She was okay, but not, it was okay. Listen, I was more of a fan of the show season 1, then season 2 came around, and if I'm going to be honest with you, season 2, a lot of people started getting very Cavalieri, and I was a little less Cavalieri than very Cavalieri. I'd say I was mildly Cavalieri at the time, and I need to catch up to get more Cavalieri, but right now I'm so Cavalieri, I'd say.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Billy.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Golic and Wingo.
What you heard Howie Roseman talking about after this is sort of the backup quarterback God complex that exists there now. They believe that they are so capable of developing and honing that spot that they can do no wrong with a pick like this. That's, to me, what kind of shined through in all this is we're so confident in what we do that we think we can justify this pick where it was with this particular guy.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Do you like apps?
Yeah.
The all-new WTSM app.
How do you like them apps?
Download for iPhone or Android today. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.